Chapter 456. Great changes in the 9 serenities. With that, the young man waved his hand. The black pearl in his hand lit up, and a vengeful spirit flew out. This vengeful spirit was a middle-aged man. He had an ordinary face, but his eyes were red. His entire body was translucent, and his fingernails were long and sharp. It was unknown what level this vengeful spirit was at. Go! With the young man's shout, the vengeful spirit pounced towards Xianxia like a fierce tiger. So fast! Xianxia's eyes flashed as he activated Beast King's rampage. 760 dragons' power increased to 990 dragons, almost reaching the peak of the Qi controlling stage. Oh, you're quite capable. The young man was surprised. He had only released this vengeful spirit to test Xianxia's strength. It only had 800 dragons' power. Vengeful spirits were different from when they were alive. Their entire body was full of weak points. Once they received a certain amount of damage, they would die. However, the most effective way to kill them was to cut them in half. Although Xianxia only had 760 dragons' power, he still had the Bahuang sword and the underworld swordsmanship. It was extremely easy for him to kill a vengeful spirit that only knew how to attack with its fingernails. However, after Xianxia killed the vengeful spirit, the young man released 2 more vengeful spirits. This time, they were Qi-refining vengeful spirits. Humph, if you're dead, go reincarnate. Why are you scaring people? Xianxia didn't care at all. In an instant, he burst forth with a speed that made the young man's heart palpitate. He killed the 2 vengeful spirits of the first-level Qi-refining vengeful spirits. Looks like I've kicked an iron plate. How dare you kill 2 of my first-level Qi-refining vengeful spirits? I'll skin you alive and pull out your tendons. The young man thought to himself. He raised the black pearl in his hand. In an instant, a large number of vengeful spirits appeared around him. There were at least 100 of them, and among them there were even 4 first-level Qi-refining vengeful spirits. Humph, how can this kind of thing do anything to me? Xianxia snorted coldly. He charged forward and ordered Wei Zhentian to attack the young man. To be honest, Xianxia hated wraiths because there was no benefit to killing them. In order to capture bandits, one must first capture the leader. Charge! Xianxia instantly increased his speed and charged towards the young man with Wei Zhentian. Not good. The young man's expression changed. Xianxia's strength had exceeded his expectations. The people from the land of wandering souls were not as strong as the people from the land of 9 serenities and the land of buried bones. If Xianxia got close to him, he would be dead for sure. Humph, you think you can kill me? The young man snorted and released another vengeful spirit from the 100 spirits pearl. This spirit was given to him by his master. It was at the 2nd level of the refinement Qi realm, but he could only control it with some effort. So what if you're in the 2nd level of Qi refining? Xianxia's eyes glowed brightly. His sword gleamed like a gust of wind and swept out, clearing away the surrounding resentful spirits. Although the attack power of a 2nd-rank Qi-refining vengeful spirit was astonishing, its speed was still inferior to that of Xianxia. Die! Xianxia directly passed by the 2nd-rank Qi-refining vengeful spirit and arrived in front of the young man. Just as the young man was about to retreat, he was caught by a giant claw. Immediately, Xianxia chopped off his head. Although the people from the land of wandering souls were strong, they usually moved in groups and used the vengeful spirits to kill their opponents. However, the people from the land of wandering souls neglected their own strength in order to master the control of the vengeful spirits. If the vengeful spirits could not do anything to their enemies, they would be easily killed unless they could suppress their enemies in terms of level. This young man obviously specialized in controlling vengeful spirits. Unexpectedly, he encountered Xianxia, who relied on his speed and was easily killed. Once the young man died, the released vengeful spirits broke free from his control. However, after Xianxia obtained the 100 spirits pearl, they instantly calmed down, including the 2nd-rank Qi-refining vengeful spirit. Controlling vengeful spirits really requires a lot of mental strength. Come in, all of you. Xianxia thought to himself. When he obtained the young man's interspatial ring, he had already learned the secret tome of wandering souls of the 1000 Wraith sect and learned how to control vengeful spirits. However, he could only control them temporarily. In less than 2 seconds, the vengeful spirits around him were sucked into the 100 spirits pearl. At this time, Xianxia felt a slight swelling pain in his head. This was the after effect of using too much mental strength. After all, he had just learned about controlling vengeful spirits and had not cultivated his mental strength before. Then, he began to check the contents of the young man's interspatial ring. Ding! The host has broken through to 800 dragon power. It was another qualitative leap. From 760 dragon power to 800 dragon power, he had reached the 8th level of the royal Qi realm. Before Yi Xian could get excited, he found something in the interspatial ring. It was a list. The names on the list were all sects and cities in the region, and even families that were established outside the region. This is a planned cleanup. Are they trying to turn this area into a wasteland? Yi Xian casually threw the list into the devouring system. He did not pay much attention to it. After all, this matter had nothing to do with him. However, he still felt that it was better to inform the 100 Poisons sect. After all, the 100 Poisons sect was once a springboard for him to become stronger. However, just as Yi Xian arrived at the 100 Poisons sect on the heavenly dragon bone, he saw a figure laughing coldly in the air above the 100 Poisons sect. Inside the 100 Poisons sect, there were cries of anguish. I'm too late. No, it's not too late. Feng Yaqing. Yi Xian's eyes narrowed. He saw that the 100 Poisons Princess Feng Yaqing was fighting a vengeful spirit. Not far away, Feng Shan was also fighting a vengeful spirit. There was actually such a low-level vengeful spirit. It seemed that the person who massacred the 100 Poisons sect was not very strong. Ha ha ha, despair. I like to see people in despair. That woman, yes, that woman. I want to see her in despair. The person in the air was laughing loudly. However, what he did not know was that a figure was already flying toward him. Rip! A head flew into the air. This person was instantly killed by Yi Xian. Yi Xian did not even know his realm, so he estimated that he was not higher than Imperial Qi Tier 8. After the man was killed, the vengeful spirits below paused for a moment before continuing their attack. Now they were all out of control. Go, vengeful spirits! Yi Xian took out the 100 Ghost Pearl and released some vengeful spirits. These vengeful spirits were all of high realms. Just a few of them would be enough. What? Feng Shan was a little surprised. He watched as the vengeful spirits killed the vengeful spirits. In a short while, the vengeful spirits attacking the 100 Poisons sect were killed and dissipated. Then, another figure descended from the sky. It's you? Feng Shan and Feng Yaqing recognized Yi Xian. Are you okay? Yi Xian stood in the air and asked tentatively. Little brother, you saved our lives again. Chapter 457. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation Conspiracy. Why are you here? Feng Yaqing looked at the heavenly dragon bone behind Yi Xian and the 100 Ghost Pearl in Yi Xian's hand that absorbed the vengeful spirit. I was just passing by and saw the people from the land of ghosts massacring the sections. So I came to take a look. You guys better find a mountain to hide in, Yi Xian said casually. Is there a huge commotion? Feng Shan gulped. All the sects in this area are targeted by the land of ghosts. I don't know if it's the same in other areas. Anyway, I saw the Blood Crow Divine Sect destroyed, Yi Xian said. The Blood Crow Divine Sect. Everyone in the 100 Poisons sect was stunned when they heard the name. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was the overlord of this area. It was a 5th grade sect in the Ghost Tomb region. The 100 Poisons sect was only a 6th grade sect. I have a feeling that something big is going to happen. You guys better find a place to hide. After Yi Xian said that, he left immediately. In the Ghost Tomb region, the sects were divided into 6 grades. The Poison King sect was the 1st grade sect in the land of ghosts. There were a few 2nd grade sects under it. These 2nd grade sects were in charge of 3rd grade sects, 3rd grade sects were in charge of 4th grade sects, and 4th grade sects were in charge of 5th grade sections. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was a 5th grade sect. The Blood Crow Divine Sect was in charge of 6th grade sects like the 100 Poison Sect and the 5 Poison Sect. It was a gradual progression. Yi Xian suspected that this matter was not as simple as it seemed. So, he decided to check out the other areas. In the 100 Poison Sect, many of them looked at the direction Yi Xian left in puzzlement. A person who came riding on a heavenly dragon bone was holding a 100 Ghost Pearl. What was going on? If they knew that Yi Xian was once captured to be tested for poison, what would their expressions be? Feng Yaqing was also looking at Yi Xian's back and fell into deep thought. She was extremely curious about Yi Xian's identity. After leaving the 100 Poisons sect, Yi Xian headed for the hinterland of the 9 Serenities. The Baidu branch that old Monster Hong had taken him to that day was actually at the border of the Ghost Tomb region. In fact, it was also at the border of the 9 Serenities, which was the border of the land of buried bones. However, the land of wandering souls was very far away. For their people to be able to kill their way here, they had to travel a lot of distance. Therefore, this must be premeditated. Yi Xian headed straight for the center of the 9th Serenity. Along the way, he saw many cities that had been reduced to ruins, as well as many low-level wraiths. Other than that, he also saw many people from the land of drifting souls. Naturally, these people were all killed by him. However, after Yi Xian stepped into the territory of the Blue Feather sect, a 4th-grade sect in the 9 Serenities, he had to treat him with caution. This was because there might be quite a few qi refining experts here. The Blue Feather sect could be considered a relatively orthodox sect in the 9 Serenities. They relied on normal cultivation. However, when Yi Xian arrived at the Blue Feather sect, he found that the Blue Feather sect had also been massacred. There were no survivors in the entire sect. Corpses were everywhere, all cut to death by sharp blades. These wounds were caused by the claws of the wraiths. How terrifying! Even the Blue Feather sect, which had a 3rd-stage qi refining cultivator, was destroyed. Could it be that the land of wandering souls has declared war on the 9 Serenities? Yi Xian couldn't help but shudder. A war between 2 great forces would be on a very large scale. Moreover, they were all first-class ruthless people in the Ghost Tomb region. If a war broke out, the casualties would definitely be unimaginable. At this moment, a person suddenly rushed over. Whitebone War Puppet. Are the people from the land of buried bones also here? Dang! A man's voice sounded. Yi Xian glanced out of the corner of his eye, and found that the person was a 2nd-stage qi refinement cultivator. This 2nd-stage qi refinement cultivator didn't waste any time and directly released a 2nd-stage qi refinement cultivator's wraiths to attack Yi Xian. On the way here, Yi Xian killed many 1st-stage qi refinement cultivators and raised his realm a little. Now, he had reached 820 dragon power. If he unleashed his full power, he would be able to reach the 1st-stage qi refinement realm. Coupled with the enhancement of his various bloodlines, it would be nothing to fight against a 2nd-stage qi refinement realm cultivator. However, to be safe, Yi Xian also let the heavenly dragon bone that had been refined to the 2nd-stage qi refinement realm and the wraiths of the 2nd-stage qi refinement realm to help. What? This powerhouse was shocked. He was blind this time to provoke such a powerhouse. The 2nd-stage qi refinement realm heavenly dragon bone and the wraiths of the 2nd-stage qi refinement realm coupled with Yi Xian, who was known for his speed, he was instantly defeated and fell in less than 5 rounds. You overestimate yourself. Yi Xian cursed. Although he didn't know which force this person was from, killing on sight had angered Yi Xian. Ding! The host has broken through to 840 dragon power. This time, the increase of 20 dragon power made Yi Xian very satisfied. Although I don't know what happened, I finally found a way to improve quickly. Yi Xian thought to himself. It seemed that he would soon reach the qi refinement realm. At that time, his true qi would have a qualitative leap and it shouldn't be a problem for him to jump a few levels. This person had a lot of ores in his yin and yang ring, which could help Wei Zhentian increase his realm by a lot. Little Tian, this heavenly dragon bone might not be useful anymore. Refining it takes too much time. You should just devour it. Yi Xian said to Wei Zhentian. Although Wei Zhentian was very unwilling, he could only accept his fate. Although he could transform, he couldn't transform into such a huge creature. Wei Zhentian's current growth rate was extremely fast, almost catching up to the devouring system. If he ate the ores, he would grow in less than an hour. An hour later, Wei Zhentian reached the qi refinement realm before Yi Xian. After that, Yi Xian also put away the heavenly dragon bone. He didn't even want to use the 100 ghost pearl. He was afraid that he would encounter a 3rd or 4th qi refinement realm expert. He wandered around the Blue Feather sect and found a few experts from the land of ghosts who were still slaughtering the city. Moreover, their realms were between the 1st and 2nd qi refinement realm. Because of that, he directly killed those people. His cultivation also continued to increase. Ding! The host has broken through to the 1st qi refinement realm. After he killed more than 10 people, he finally broke through to the 1st dragon realm. He couldn't accept the speed of the breakthrough. Just as he broke through and was waiting for Wei Zhentian to grow, a person suddenly rushed over from afar. This person was actually a third Qi refinement realm expert. Everyone has gathered. Why are you still here? The man asked in surprise. Gathered. Yi Xian frowned. Now that he had cultivated the Land of Ghosts secret manual of ghosts, he could sense that the person in front of him was an expert from the Land of Ghosts. Therefore, the man must have thought that he was from the Land of Ghosts. You don't know how to gather? The man also frowned and said in a commanding tone, Release a vengeful spirit. Yi Xian quickly thought in his heart. Then, he took out 100 ghost pearl and released a second Qi refinement realm vengeful spirit. After the man saw it, he lowered his guard and said, That means I didn't inform you. Follow me. Chapter 458. Betrayal? This was the first third-level Qi refinement realm cultivator that Yi Xian had seen since he entered the Nine Serenities. From the man's tone, it seemed that the Land of Ghosts was gathering experts for a big operation. If Yi Xian were to unleash his full power, he might be able to fight the man. However, he was more interested in seeing what the Land of Ghosts was up to, so he followed the man. Along the way, they encountered many people from the Land of Ghosts. However, this time, he could not attack them. The gathering point of the Land of Ghosts was in a valley. When Yi Xian arrived with the man, there were already dozens of people gathered there. Wow, so many experts. Which sect are they attacking? Yi Xian was shocked. He landed with the man. Immediately after, the man turned around and asked, How many resentful spirits have you collected? How many resentful spirits have you collected? Yi Xian was shocked again, but he controlled his expression and maintained a calm expression to avoid being seen through again. Immediately after, the people who came with Yi Xian each took out a few hundred ghost pearls. The 100 ghost pearls could absorb resentful spirits. The limit was 999 resentful spirits, while the 1,000 ghost pearls could absorb 9,999 resentful spirits. Yi Xian glanced at them and realized that one of them had taken out 1,000 ghost pearl. How many people did he have to kill? The probability of resentful spirits being born was not high, and those with high cultivation levels were even rarer. Yi Xian quickly thought for a moment, then took out a few hundred ghost pearls. Not bad. The man kept the 100 ghost pearls, then walked to the front of the crowd and handed them to an old man. It seems that the old man is the leader. Perhaps he has reached the 4th level Qi refinement realm, Yi Xian thought to himself. At the same time, he guessed that the Blue Feather sect might have been destroyed by this old man. However, he did not know why he handed over so many resentful spirits. He waited for a while. Although he stood in place, he was eavesdropping on the conversations of the people around him. However, he did not hear anything. He only knew that they were going to attack a faction called the Earth Fiend Sword Sect. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect had a 4th-rank Qi refining expert, which was why they needed to gather so many people. The Ghostland relied on the human wave tactic. Even if there were only 100 of them, if each of them released 100 wraiths, that would be more than 10,000 wraiths, not to mention a 4th-stage Qi refinement cultivator who could control hundreds of wraiths at the same time. During this period of time, more experts from the Land of Ghosts arrived one after another. When the old man saw that almost everyone had arrived, he shouted, All right, almost everyone is here. Let's move out. Then, he flew up with a group of people. Yi Xian glanced at it. Sure enough, this old man was in the 4th rank of Qi refining. There were 6 3rd-rank Qi refining cultivators, and the rest were either in the 2nd rank or the 1st rank. Yi Xian mixed in with the group and followed the elder as they flew in a certain direction. After flying for about half a day, they finally arrived at the Earth Emanation Sword Sect. All right, let's go. The old man didn't waste any more time and directly shouted. At the same time, he took out 1,000 ghost pearl and released 2 4th-stage Qi refining vengeful spirits, as well as many 1st to 3rd-stage Qi refining vengeful spirits. The others did the same. In an instant, a huge group of vengeful spirits appeared in the sky. There were more than 5,000 vengeful spirits, and some even reached 7,000 to 8,000. This huge group of vengeful spirits covered the sky and pounced towards the Earth Emanation Sword Sect, scaring the disciples of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect half to death. Quickly inform the sect leader that the Land of Ghosts is attacking. The entire Earth Emanation Sword Sect was in chaos. Fortunately, the Earth Emanation Sword Sect had a protective mountain array. However, this protective mountain array couldn't hold for long. In less than 5 seconds, The protective mountain array was broken, and thousands of vengeful spirits attacked. The sound was so loud that the experts of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect came out. They had already heard the news and were prepared. They immediately split into two groups. One group resisted the vengeful spirits while the other rushed towards the dozens of people in the Land of Ghosts. The Land of Ghosts was prepared as well. They released more vengeful spirits in an attempt to resist. Yi Xian, who was mixed in with the crowd, only released a few first-rank qi refining vengeful spirits. He was hiding his strength. When he saw the people of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect fighting with the vengeful spirits, his eyes flashed. Now it was time for him to strike. Beast King Rampage. Boom! A surge of energy appeared spontaneously. Yi Xian's heavenly dragon strength instantly soared to more than 1,300 dragons. The speed of 1,600 dragons burst forth. The Land of Ghosts relied on the tactic of using numbers. Their own strength was very weak. Yi Xian's burst of energy instantly killed the people around him, including two third-rank qi refining experts. His cultivation level increased again. What? The fourth-rank qi refining elder widened his eyes in disbelief. He had personally checked this group of people. They were all people who had cultivated the secret manual of ghosts. But now, why were they killing his own people? However, he didn't have time to think about this because Yi Xian had already charged over. Do you think I didn't have a backup plan? The 1,000 ghost pearl in the elder's left hand emitted a demonic glow. He released another fourth-rank qi refining vengeful spirit. However, it was useless. Yi Xian was as fast as lightning. He passed by the vengeful spirit and chopped off the elder's head. In an instant, hundreds of vengeful spirits went out of control. Yi Xian quickly kept the elder's interspatial ring. His cultivation level increased again, and he continued his slaughter. Even a fourth-rank qi refining expert was instantly killed by him, not to mention the rest. In less than 5 seconds, the people of the Land of Ghosts were all dead. Yi Xian also used this opportunity to break through to the third-rank qi refining. His cultivation level increased very quickly indeed. After all, these people were ruthless people who had massacred many sects and cities. There were many things in their interspatial rings. Vengeful spirits, come back. Yi Xian used his vital energy to hold up the 100 Ghost Pearl and 1,000 Ghost Pearl. In the next instant, the vengeful spirits attacking the Earth Emanation Sword Sect suddenly turned around and returned to the pearls. This. The people of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect were all stunned. They hadn't even broken through the vengeful spirits and everyone in the Land of Ghosts was dead. They couldn't understand why Yi Xian, who was from the Land of Ghosts, would suddenly kill everyone. Your Excellency, you are... The sect leader of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect asked in surprise. Yi Xian looked at the disciples and elders of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect and said coldly, I am not from the Land of Ghosts. I am just here to blend in. This was an explanation that everyone could understand. So you are an expert sent by the higher-ups. Thank you for your help. I thank you on behalf of the entire Earth Emanation Sword Sect. The sect leader of the Earth Emanation Sword Sect bowed in gratitude. Chapter 459. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation killing an Aura Chi tier expert, it's fine. However, do you know why the Land of Ghosts is attacking us? Yi Xian asked. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect leader paused and shook his head. We don't know either. However, with such a large number of people, they must have been hiding in the Ninth Serenity for a long time. They must be up to something big. Nonsense. Of course I know there's a big conspiracy. Yi Xian rolled his eyes, feeling helpless in his heart. Then he asked again, do you know which sects haven't been attacked yet? I'm not very sure either. We've been staying in the sect for the past few days, and no one brought us any news. The Earth Fiend Sword Sect leader shook his head. Sigh, forget it. Yi Xian sighed and left. Although he did not get any useful information, he still managed to advance from level 1 to level 3 Qi refinement. If he did it again, he might be able to advance to level 4 Qi refinement. Therefore, he followed the map and went to another sect to take a look. The Land of Ghosts was purging the forces of the Ninth Serenity to collect vengeful spirits. Now, Yi Xian had more than 10,000 Qi refinement vengeful spirits in his interspatial ring. If he added the Qi refinement vengeful spirits, the total number would exceed 50,000. This time, His target was a sect called the Silver Snake Sect. Like the Earth Fiend Sword Sect, the Silver Snake Sect had level 4 Qi refinement experts. He traveled at full speed for a day and found the Silver Snake Sect. At this time, the Silver Snake Sect was under attack by a group of experts from the Land of Ghosts. What a coincidence! Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Looking at the group of experts from the Land of Ghosts above the Silver Snake Sect, he released several level 3 Qi refinement vengeful spirits. There were 2 level 4 Qi refinement experts in this group. Their vengeful spirits also attacked the Silver Snake Sect. Yi Xian approached quickly. Someone noticed him. Why are you only here now? Hurry up! A level 3 Qi refinement martial artist shouted at Yi Xian. Yi Xian had cultivated the Ghost's secret manual and had a few vengeful spirits at the 3rd level of Qi refinement. This caused this martial artist to naturally mistake him for someone from the Ghostlands. Yes. Yi Xian leaned over with a smile on his face. Then, his smile abruptly disappeared as his eyes shot out 2 rays of murderous intent. Beast King Rampage. In the blink of an eye, the 3rd level of Qi refinement had risen to the 7th level of Qi refinement. His speed had already surpassed the 10th level of Qi refinement and reached the 1st level of Qi refinement. There were 3 stages in the spirit realm: controlling Qi, refining Qi, and aura Qi. Among them, controlling Qi only had 9 stages, while refining Qi and aura Qi had 10 stages. In any case, Yi Xian's current speed had already exceeded everyone's reaction time. Swish! 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 Yi Xian rushed into the crowd and started a massacre. In less than 3 seconds, the dozens of people were all dead, and because of this, he broke through to the 4th rank of Qi refinement. Then, he recalled everyone's wraiths and left quickly. The people from the Silver Snake Sect did not understand what was going on. They stood there in a daze for a full 10 seconds. Was there a traitor in the Land of Wandering Souls? After that, Yi Xian kept wandering around these sections. If he saw anyone from the Land of Wandering Souls, he would immediately kill them. His cultivation level also increased rapidly as if he was sitting on a rocket. He went deeper into the Land of 9 Serenities, and the people he encountered had higher cultivation levels. There was indeed a huge conspiracy in the Land of Wandering Souls. These experts could not have arrived recently. They had been hiding in the Land of 9 Serenities for a long time. Out of curiosity, Yi Xian also captured a few experts from the Land of Wandering Souls. However, these people were only following orders. They were in charge of collecting the wraiths and handing them over to their superiors. Moreover, the Land of Wandering Souls plan was very meticulous. They first investigated the backgrounds of these forces, then sent experts to destroy them. At this time, Yi Xian had already destroyed nearly 10 waves of experts from the Land of Wandering Souls. His cultivation level had already reached the 8th rank of Qi refinement. Now, he encountered a group led by an aura Qi expert. At the same time, he also infiltrated them. This time, the sect they were going to destroy was a level 3 force. They also had an aura Qi expert. Everyone, listen to my order. Kill! The level 1 aura Qi expert shouted. Hundreds of experts from the Land of Wandering Souls instantly released countless wraiths. There were already more than 20,000 of them. A large group of wraiths covered the sky and rushed toward the sect. Yi Xian hid among them like before. Just as the wraiths rushed over, he suddenly activated Beast King's Rampage. More than 1,700 dragons. His strength increased to 2,300 dragons, and he reached the 4th rank of Aura Qi. The leader of the group was only at the 1st rank of Aura Qi. However, this was only an increase in strength. From the 9th rank of Qi refinement to the 1st rank of Qi refinement, there would be a qualitative leap in one's true energy. From the 10th rank of Qi refinement to the 1st rank of Aura Qi, a new technique would appear. It was called the Aura Defense. This Aura Defense could greatly weaken true energy attacks. Yi Xian might not be able to kill this 1st rank of Aura Qi expert with the strength of his 8th rank Qi refinement and Bahuang's sword. However, he could find trouble with others first. Rip! 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 Crisp sounds rang out as heads and corpses fell from the sky. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the 100 experts from the Land of Ghosts were dead. At least 30 of them had fallen. Yi Xian's strength was still rising rapidly. What? The 1st rank of Aura Qi expert was shocked. What a bastard! You actually dared to infiltrate our Land of Wandering Souls team. The first rank of Aura Qi expert was furious. He charged at Yi Xian with his sword. However, at this moment, Yi Xian had just broken through to the 9th rank of Aura Qi refinement with 1,800 dragons of power. After breaking through, Yi Xian ignored him and continued to slaughter the people around him. By the time this expert caught up to him, most of the people in the land of ghosts were already dead. Whoosh! The expert with the first level of astral energy flashed in front of Yi Xian. His sword descended, but it landed on the afterimage. Yi Xian had already circled behind him and swung his sword. Bang! Yi Xian's true qi was weakened by the first rank of Aura Qi. When the Bahuang's sword landed on the first rank of Aura Qi defense, his wrist trembled. Clang! The martial artist hurriedly blocked with his long sword and growled. You think you can kill me? He could tell that Yi Xian only had strength. His true qi was very weak. If he was really a 3rd rank of Aura Qi expert, he would have been killed instantly. Haha, I think I can kill you. Yi Xian sneered and swung his sword again. This time, he used martial arts. Underworld swordsmanship. Sword descends to the underworld. Rip! A head flew up. Yi Xian only wanted to see the effect of the first rank of Aura Qi. He did not use martial arts. The first rank of Aura Qi defense is really good. It weakened my true qi greatly. If Beast King's rampage could increase my realm instead of my strength, that would be great. Yi Xian shook his head helplessly. If Beast King's rampage could increase his realm, he would be able to fight against a 4th or 5th rank of Aura Qi expert. Chapter 460. Meet the Devourer again. Ding! The host has broken through to the 9th level of Qi refining. 9th level of Qi refining. 1800 dragon power. The disciple of the 3rd grade power was also stunned as he watched these powerful wraiths being taken away by Yi Xian. Yi Xian was about to ask a few more questions when a large group of black figures suddenly appeared in the distance. No, it was a large group of white figures. When he turned around, he discovered that it was not the experts from the land of wandering souls, but the experts from the land of buried bones. Those white figures were all white bone war puppets. The people from the boneyard are finally here. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. With such a huge matter happening in the Nine Netherland, the boneyard would definitely not be able to sit still and come to get a share of the loot. He estimated that those who were able to come here wouldn't be very strong. He immediately rushed out. The strongest person in this group from the boneyard was only at Tier 2 astral energy. They could not stop Yi Xian at all. In just a short while, this group from the boneyard was completely annihilated. It was because of this that Yi Xian broke through to the 10th rank of Qi refining. He was only one step away from attaining the Aura Qi rank. Now, the Nine Netherland could be considered to be riddled with holes. None of the sects on the periphery could survive the crisis unscathed. Even the Poison King sect and the 6 second-class sects were the same. Although Yi Xian still didn't understand why the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirit sect wanted to attack the 9 Serenities, he knew that as long as he ventured deeper, he would understand. Therefore, he continued to advance toward the center of the 9 Serenities. However, just as he entered the territory of a second-class sect, he witnessed an unprecedented battle. At this moment, there were 2 groups of people fighting in front of him. The commotion was extremely great, and it resounded through the clouds. When Yi Xian saw the realms of these people, he was completely dumbfounded. The strongest among the 20 or so people had actually reached the 3,000 dragons, which was the 3 heavenly dragons. Level 10 gang energy. Heavens, what am I seeing? Peak of the Aura Qi realm. He's only one step away from the Soul Essence realm. Yi Xian was extremely shocked. Rank 10 gang Qi was already the pinnacle of the ghost tomb. He took a quick look around and could tell that this was a battle between the Poison King sect and the Fallen Spirit sect. The Poison King sect naturally used poison while the Fallen Spirit sect controlled vengeful spirits in battle. Although Yi Xian's cultivation base wasn't high, he could tell that the Poison King sect wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. Little Tong, let's go. A loud roar reverberated between heaven and earth. Then, Yi Xian saw a petite figure rushing towards him. Seeing this, the leader of the Poison King sect reminded, "Not this way." Hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes narrowed. He discovered that this petite figure was actually a 6 or 7-year-old girl. The reason the middle-aged man reminded him was because he saw Yi Xian. However, the little girl continued to charge towards Yi Xian. "Big brother, please help me." The little girl cried out to Yi Xian. Yi Xian's body trembled again. F*CK. This little girl is actually a rank 1 Gang Chi expert. She's a rank higher than me. He could only watch as the little girl rushed over. Then the little girl took off the interspatial ring around her neck and cried, "Big brother, this is for you. Please help us." Yi Xian looked at the little girl who didn't even reach his waist and shook his head helplessly. "Little girl, aren't you afraid that I'm a bad guy?" The little girl blinked her big eyes and said with 2 streaks of tears, "I believe you." Yi Xian was stunned by this sentence. In fact, he had wanted to run for his life. He was afraid that he would be implicated. How could he possibly help? "Brat, if you dare touch her, I'll take your life," the middle-aged man from the Poison King sect shouted angrily. Clearly, this little girl's identity was not ordinary. Yi Xian glanced at the battle in the distance and silently took the interspatial ring. But in the next moment, he couldn't help but gasp. There were too many things in this interspatial ring to count. Not only that, there was something in the interspatial ring that made him almost want to devour everything. "You want to use this interspatial ring as a reward for my help?" Yi Xian asked. "Yes." The little girl nodded. "Okay, I agree." Yi Xian nodded solemnly. Now, he didn't care about anything else. He directly devoured everything in this exquisite interspatial ring. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 1 Gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 2 Gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 3 Gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 4 Gang Chi. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 5 Gang Chi. The little girl didn't have many natural treasures, and there weren't many sacred beast souls, but it was still enough for Yi Xian to rise by 6 ranks. But that was not the point. The point was that there was a devourer's corpse in the interspatial ring. The devourer's corpse was a black rabbit. Ding! Host has obtained 1 advancement point. Finally, he obtained the 3rd advancement point. Then, he chose agility advancement point without hesitation. Ding! Beast King Bloodline Agility Advancement successful. Current advancement point 3. After advancing agility advancement point 3 times, Yi Xian's speed increased again. Now, he was more than 2,400 dragons. Even if he didn't use Beast King's rage, he was still beyond the spirit realm. But he didn't dare to be careless. This group of people were the elites of the elites. They definitely had high-grade heaven-level martial arts. The little girl's interspatial ring also had high-grade heaven-level martial arts, which made things easier for Yi Xian. Ding! Host has learned the hidden dragon swordsmanship. Current proficiency 10%. Ding! Host has learned the black dragon swordsmanship. Current proficiency 10%. These 2 martial arts were both high-grade heaven-level martial arts. But because he had just learned them, he only had 10% proficiency. "Big brother, hurry up and help Uncle Hua." At this moment, the little girl's words pulled Yi Xian back to reality. "Okay, you stay here." Yi Xian regained his senses and immediately rushed out. Now, he was using the black dragon steps that he had just learned. However, there was not a single flying dragon around him. This was because his spirit realm had exceeded the spirit realm. He had more than 3,100 dragons. In the spirit realm, even if one was at the 10th level of astral energy, they would at most be able to cultivate to the strength of 3 heavens dragons. However, Yi Xian had 100 more dragons than them. At this time, his speed had reached the extreme. There was no one in the ghost tomb who could compare with him. If it was calculated in terms of dragons, it would be 4,100 dragons. Ding! Black Dragon Steps proficiency has increased. Current proficiency 20%. Chapter 461. Translator, Exodus Tales Editor. Exodus Tales Ghost Tombas. Yi Xian charged into the fray. His high-grade heaven-class movement technique was enhanced by 20%. His speed had already surpassed the ghostly steps of the netherworld. His speed sent chills down the spines of the onlookers. Their faces were filled with shock as they realized that there was not a single flying dragon around Yi Xian. This meant that his strength had exceeded 3,000 dragons. Both parties were frightened to death. The middle-aged man from the Poison King sect glanced over, and realized that the young lady was staring at him from afar. The middle-aged man immediately understood that Yi Xian was here to help them. At that moment, his morale soared. "Kill!" The middle-aged man bellowed. The Poison King sect members were not fools. They could tell what was going on. As for the fallen spirit sect members, their faces darkened. They had already released all of their vengeful spirits and could barely suppress the Poison King sect members. When they had attacked the Poison King sect members with all their might, they could not even release a single vengeful spirit. They could only watch as the young lady ran away. At that moment, Xianxia had already traversed a few thousand meters and charged into the midst of the fallen spirit sect members. Essence Soul Stage, here I come. Xianxia's eyes lit up as he began his massacre. Everyone in the land of wandering spirits was the same. They specialized in controlling vengeful spirits and were weak in terms of strength. As such, the moment Xianxia charged into the midst of the fallen spirit sect members, he began his massacre. In the blink of an eye, 3 of them had fallen. Ding! Host has broken through to level 6 of Earth Energy. Ding! Host has broken through to level 7 of Earth Energy. When Xianxia broke through the Earth Energy defense of the fallen spirit sect member who had the strength of 3 dragons and chopped off his head, everyone from the Poison King sect was stunned. This group of fallen spirit sect members who had almost killed them had died at the hands of the same person in less than 3 seconds. This was hard for them to accept. Ding! Host has broken through to level 8 of Earth Energy. After Xianxia devoured the last universe ring, he broke through to level 8 of Earth Energy. Following which, the vengeful spirits were summoned back by him. The Poison King sect's people all stopped and looked at each other in dismay. At this moment, even if Xianxia didn't go into Beast King Rampage, he would still be able to kill all of the Poison King sect's members. But he didn't want to. Big brother. At this moment the little girl ran over. I have completed the task you entrusted to me. Xianxia smiled at the little girl. Big brother, thank you. The little girl was so emotional that she started crying. The Poison King sex group had a total of 10 people, led by the middle-aged man. After a while, the middle-aged man landed on the ground and knelt on one knee. He cupped his fist and said, "Thank you for saving my life." In response, Xianxia also hurriedly descended and said, "Senior, please rise. I was only entrusted by her." The middle-aged man stood up, took the little girl's hand, and wiped the tears off her face. "You're from the Poison King sect, right? What happened in the 9 Serenities?" Xianxia couldn't help but ask. The Poison King sect was the overlord sect of the 9 Serenities in the Ghost Tomb region. They definitely knew what happened here. The middle-aged man was stunned and asked, "You don't know?" "I just came from another territory and happened to pass by." Xianxia casually replied. "That's true." The middle-aged man thought about it and agreed. There were only 3 Soul Essence Realm experts in the Ghost Tomb region. Xianxia was so young. How could he be from the Ghost Tomb region? He hesitated for a moment and said, "Actually, my Poison King sect has been destroyed by the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect. There are only 11 of us left in the Poison King sect." "What? Destroyed?" Xianxia exclaimed. The Poison King sect was one of the 3 overlord sects in the Ghost Tomb region. How could it be destroyed just like that? "Yes, it has been destroyed. Even the Soul Essence Realm Old Sect Master has fallen." As the middle-aged man spoke, he glanced at the little girl beside him and said, "Little Tong is the old sect master's granddaughter. We just escaped from the Poison King sect and are preparing to leave the Ghost Tomb region to find her aunt in the Eastern Mountain region." "So all the Soul Essence Realm experts have fallen?" Xianxia's heart froze. The old sect master of the Poison King sect should have been killed by the 2 great experts of the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect. At this moment, little Tong cried again. "Big brother, my father, mother, and grandparents were all killed by them. Can you help me take revenge?" Xianxia scratched his head. He was most afraid of people crying. But now, he didn't even know why the Poison King sect was destroyed. Thus, he turned his head and asked, "Then why was the Poison King sect destroyed?" "Little brother, there is a legend in the Ghost Tomb region. It is rumored that there is a ghost tomb in the Ghost Tomb region that was built by a spirit realm expert after his death. There were originally 2 entrances to the Ghost Tomb. One was originally the burial ground, but that entrance was destroyed. As for the other entrance..." Although the middle-aged man did not finish his sentence, Xianxia understood. The second entrance was in the Poison King sect. The second entrance is indeed in the Poison King sect. Originally, no one knew about this, not even me. However, half a year ago, A strange phenomenon appeared in our Poison King sect. The howling of 10,000 ghosts lasted for an entire 3 days. It was seen by the people from the burial ground and the land of ghosts, so they used it to kill their way over. The middle-aged man explained. Now, Yi Xian was confused. Since they were exposed, why didn't they give up the Poison King sect's foundation and move? Could it be that the Poison King sect wants to monopolize the ghost tomb? Yi Xian asked with a frown. No, little brother, you misunderstood. Although the ghost tomb is under the Poison King sect, there is a seal. The Poison King sect was destroyed in order to protect the ghost tomb and prevent the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect from entering. The middle-aged man shook his head. What do you mean? Yi Xian asked in astonishment. Since the Poison King sect knew about the tomb of a spirit realm senior, why didn't they send people to explore it? Was it because it was too dangerous? The seal of the ghost tomb requires 9,999,999 vengeful spirits to break through. Moreover, there is a powerful ghost king in the ghost tomb. If it is accidentally released, the entire ghost tomb will be destroyed. The old sect master was afraid that the ghost king would appear, so he guarded the entrance to the ghost tomb. The middle-aged man said. So that's how it is. Now, Yi Xian's doubts were finally solved. Simply speaking, the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect discovered that the entrance to the ghost tomb was in the Poison King sect. Thus they killed their way in. However, the Poison King sect swore to protect the entrance, which led to their destruction. Due to the seal on the entrance, it required 10 million vengeful spirits to break through. Thus, the Fallen Spirit sect began to kill and capture vengeful spirits. Then, did the Fallen Spirit sect and Corpse Master sect enter the ghost tomb? Yi Xian asked again. Chapter 462. Entering the ghost tomb, when they attacked my Poison King sect, they gathered nearly 10 million wraiths. I'm afraid that they have already entered the ghost tomb. The middle-aged man replied. After he finished speaking, his eyes flashed and he continued. Little brother, your strength is enough to enter the ghost tomb. If you are interested, you can compete with the Fallen Ghost sect and Corpse Master sect. Yi Xian immediately saw through his intentions. The middle-aged man saw that he was strong, so he wanted to let him enter the ghost tomb. Firstly, it was a favor, and secondly, it was possible that he could help the Poison King sect take revenge. This ghost tomb was built by a spirit stage expert. It must be very dangerous inside, right? Yi Xian's gaze fell on the middle-aged man. I'm not too sure about this. The legend of the founder being a spirit stage expert has yet to be confirmed. However, it is said that this ghost king can fight with experts who have opened 3 earth veins in the spirit stage. The middle-aged man shook his head. Now, Yi Xian also understood the specific levels in the spirit stage. The spirit stage was divided into the royal qi, refinement qi, and aura qi realms. The spirit stage was to open the meridians. There were a total of 108 meridians. First, it was the 72 earth veins, then the 36 heaven veins. Opening 3 earth veins was just the beginning of the spirit stage. At the spirit stage, the physique was not very useful. After all, the experts of the spirit stage could communicate with the world's origin qi and borrow it to increase the power of their martial arts. Yi Xian was still a bit worried because the last time he entered the red refining cave, he encountered a resurrected boss. How long has this ghost tomb been? He asked again. At least 1,000 years. My Poison King sect has a history of 800 years. The middle-aged man replied. Yi Xian was a bit hesitant. He had not reached the spirit stage yet, but he was almost there. This was a rare opportunity. With his current strength, he should be considered the strongest person in the ghost tomb territory. To be on the safe side, he asked a few more questions about the ghost tomb. At the same time, he felt that the middle-aged man was not lying. After that, Yi Xian left and rushed towards the Poison King sect. The ghost tomb had been opened a few times. Many people had explored it, and there were many opportunities. Therefore, Yi Xian could not fall behind. Otherwise, everything would be snatched away. By the time Yi Xian arrived at the Poison King sect, he discovered that the sect's protective array was in shambles. The Poison King sect had also been reduced to ruins, but there was not a single corpse. Presumably, they had all been taken away. However, at this moment, a group of people suddenly rushed over from not far away. That's strange. Both the Fallen Spirit sect and the Corpse Master sect should have already entered. Yi Xian hid in surprise. He focused his eyes and realized that the leader did not have wyvern strength. It was obvious that he was a soul essence realm expert. He realized that these people should be from the forces in the territories around Ghost Tomb. It seemed that he had quite a few opponents. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly descended from the clouds and was exposed to the group of people. Ha! There are still survivors? A martial artist with Stage 9 Supreme Force said in surprise. Then, he turned his head to look at the leading Soul Essence Stage expert. The Soul Essence Stage expert shook his head and said, "He should be here to fish in troubled waters. Let him go in and die." After all, they were a large force. It was too degrading for so many people to bully a Stage 8 Supreme Force. These 20 people flew above the Poison King sect and searched for a while. After a while, they found the entrance. The entrance to the Ghost Tomb was under the Poison King sect's Poison King Pagoda. Yi Xian followed behind this group of people and saw all of them enter the Poison King Pagoda. Not long after, he saw another team flying over. This time, there were actually 2 Soul Essence Stage experts. Soul Essence Stage. I can't see the realm. I wonder if I can fight with a Soul Essence Stage expert now. Yi Xian thought in his heart. From the Spirit Stage to the Soul Essence Stage was a huge breakthrough. His strength would also undergo a qualitative leap. At this moment, although he could increase his strength to more than 3,000 dragon power, the Soul Essence Stage allowed him to mobilize the Heaven and Earth Yuan Qi. Whether it was attack or speed, it was much stronger than a Stage 10 Supreme Force. Therefore, he was still relatively careful. After this team entered the Poison King Pagoda, Yi Xian couldn't sit still and dived down. At this moment, he was at Stage 8 Supreme Force. Next was Stage 9, Stage 10, and then Soul Essence Stage. According to the middle-aged man, there was a great treasure in the Ghost Tomb. It was the Ghost King Pearl that was used to seal the Ghost King. If someone could obtain it and refine it, then they would have an additional Soul Essence Stage combat power. Yi Xian went down a secret passage in the Poison King Pagoda. After a while, he saw a gloomy door. The door was inlaid with human skulls. They're real skulls. I'm afraid they were all high-stage Supreme Force when they were alive. Yi Xian was a little surprised. The gloomy door had been pushed open, but Yi Xian couldn't see what was inside. There was no doubt that there was a formation here. This was the 3rd seal used to restrict the Ghost King. This seal was only effective against dead creatures. It was useless against living creatures. Yi Xian directly passed through. Immediately, he saw a gloomy graveyard. Damn, these graves have all been dug up? Yi Xian was shocked. He walked in front of a tombstone and took a look. Nalan Yuan, an expert with 16 earth veins in the Soul Essence Stage. In the Soul Essence Stage, one must first open 72 earth veins, then 36 heaven veins. The owner of this graveyard only had 16 earth veins when he was alive. It wasn't very strong. Yi Xian walked around a few more times and found that their strength was about the same. The highest was only 20 earth veins. These graves were built by the owner of this ghost tomb. He buried the corpses of the experts he killed when he was alive. What spirit stage? At most, it's the Soul Essence stage who has opened 30 earth veins. Yi Xian felt helpless. However, this graveyard was quite large. He couldn't see the end of it. In addition, the environment was a little dark, causing the atmosphere here to be very strange. Yi Xian didn't have a map of this ghost tomb, so he could only walk forward. However, he had only taken a few steps when a crisp sound entered his ears. He turned his head and found that a white bone arm suddenly stretched out in front of a grave 1,000 meters away. Yi Xian was shocked. He watched as a skeleton climbed out of the grave. No one is controlling it. It actually climbed out by itself? Yi Xian was a little confused. He glanced over and found that the owner of this grave was an expert who had opened 5 earth veins. Of course, this referred to when he was alive. I'm not afraid when you're alive. Why would I be afraid when you're dead? Yi Xian tightened his grip on the Bahuang sword in his hand and rushed over. In an instant, he tore apart the skeleton. If the skeleton of a Soul Essence stage expert could be refined into a white bone battle puppet, its strength would be quite good. Chapter 463. Ghost Tomb's 4th floor. Following that, Yi Xian continued to walk forward. As expected, he encountered skeletons again. However, they were not strong and were easily killed by him. 10 minutes after he entered the ghost tomb, he suddenly discovered a passage that led downwards. It was obvious that there was a second floor to the ghost tomb. Yi Xian continued to walk downwards and arrived at the second floor of the ghost tomb. This floor was still a graveyard. However, Yi Xian was shocked. This was because the tombstones on the second floor were all experts who had opened more than 30 earth veins. The highest one was an expert who had opened 72 earth veins. Could it be that the owner of this ghost tomb was really a spirit stage expert? Yi Xian was somewhat suspicious. He walked around the second floor and discovered that the tombstones were all empty. Furthermore, there were some traces of battle. The skeletons should have been taken away by the corpse master sect. Immediately, Yi Xian entered the third floor of the ghost tomb. As expected, the spirit stage experts who had opened their heaven veins were all buried here. Although they were spirit stage experts when they were alive, the skeletons were not that strong after they died. They could even deal with a martial artist of the aura stage. Yi Xian walked around the third floor of the ghost tomb and discovered the tombstones of experts who had opened 36 heaven veins. If what was written on the tombstones was true, then the owner of the ghost tomb was indeed a spirit stage expert. At this moment, Yi Xian had already arrived at the entrance to the fourth floor. Before he entered, he heard a rumbling sound. There were people fighting below. He walked in without hesitation and gripped the Bahuang sword tightly in his hand. This time, it was not only the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirit sect. These two sects were considered the strongest in the ghost tomb. However, people from other territories had also come. The last force that Yi Xian saw had 2 spirit stage experts. Therefore, the Corpse Master sect and the Fallen Spirit sect were nothing. He had to be careful. He entered the passage and carefully walked to the exit. Sure enough, there was a group of people fighting in front of him. However, their opponents were not humans, but a large group of skeletons. No, it was a sea of skeletons. Not only that, but there were also some corpses mixed in with the skeletons. Yi Xian looked from afar. Undead creatures were everywhere thousands of meters away. The danger level of the 4th level was truly terrifying. Charge, we have to charge through. 2,000 meters away, the team was madly attacking the surrounding undead creatures and slowly advancing, continuously roaring. Yi Xian stood at the exit and looked up. He saw that there were still many bone spikes flying in the air. If anyone dared to fly up, they would probably be turned into a sieve in an instant. There are even bone spikes flying in the air. The danger level is even higher. It seems that we can only break through the sea of undead creatures. Yi Xian pondered for a moment before Yi Xian jumped into the sea of skeletons. Now that he was at the 8th level of astral energy, the strength of his true qi was not weak. Therefore, he directly shattered the Bahuang sword and used the heaven break that he had not used for a long time. Kacha! 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 In an instant, the skeletons that were blocking Yi Xian's path were directly swept away. Yi Xian was like a bulldozer as he quickly moved forward. His speed was much faster than the team that had 2 Soul Essence Realm experts in front of him. Not long after, Yi Xian caught up with this team. Due to the large number of skeletons, they did not notice Yi Xian. In the blink of an eye, Yi Xian passed by them. F***CK. How many experts did they have to kill to form such an army of undead? Yi Xian thought as he moved forward. Although these skeletons were not strong, there were too many of them. Yi Xian destroyed at least 1,000 skeletons along the way. However, these 1,000 skeletons and corpses were like a drop of water in the sea to the entire undead army. Yi Xian was very calm. After all, this was just a large number of skeletons. Moreover, his true qi was almost inexhaustible. Even if he used Heaven Break while using the Hidden Dragon Sword art, his true qi would recover faster than it was consumed. He rushed forward for about 100,000 meters before he saw a stone wall. What? The passage isn't here? Yi Xian looked around in surprise. Previously, when he went all the way to the 4th floor, the passage was right in front of the entrance. However, this time it was not. It seemed that the passage to the 5th floor should be somewhere. He immediately began to search around again. It had to be said that the 4th floor of the ghost tomb was really huge. He ran around the stone wall for 10 minutes, but he still could not see the corner. At this moment, roar! Suddenly, a deafening sound entered Yi Xian's ears. His body trembled as he turned his head to look. He saw a huge figure mixed in with the undead army in the distance. What a big guy! Yi Xian's eyes immediately lit up. These skeletons and corpses that were blocking him were all humans when they were alive. As for that big guy, it should be a holy beast. Moreover, it was very likely that it was a holy beast that was comparable to the soul essence realm. For Yi Xian, this was a huge amount of experience. Yi Xian immediately moved in the direction of the big guy. When he got closer, he saw that this big guy was an ape corpse that was dozens of meters tall. It stood there quietly with its back facing Yi Xian. At this moment, roar! The ape corpse suddenly turned around and saw Yi Xian. It immediately opened its mouth and roared. Then, it raised its big foot and crushed the skeletons below it. It's a soul essence realm giant mountain splitting ape. Yi Xian recognized it. The giant mountain splitting ape was extremely strong. It could split mountains and split the earth with a single punch. It's targeting me. Yi Xian's face darkened. The giant mountain splitting ape was a few thousand meters away from Yi Xian. It stomped its foot down and forcefully stomped on the ground, leaping towards Yi Xian. 8 Desolate Wind Killing Array, charge. Yi Xian immediately used Skybreak to open a path and dodge the attack. Bang! The giant mountain splitting ape landed on the ground, and the entire ghost tomb shook. Yi Xian condensed the 8 Desolate Sword and used Dragon's Judgment on the giant mountain splitting ape's foot. This slash pierced through the air and landed on the giant mountain splitting ape's calf. However, to Yi Xian's surprise, this attack did not break through the giant mountain splitting ape's defense. It's so strong. If I get this corpse, I can at least break through to rank 9 star energy. Yi Xian's eyes lit up as he charged over. Although the giant mountain splitting ape was strong and had a strong defense, Yi Xian's speed was twice as fast as it. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Stab. Yi Xian charged all the way to the giant mountain splitting ape's foot and then stabbed with his sword. This time, he finally broke through the ape's defense. Although it was only half an inch, it was still very good. It's a pity that I haven't reached the soul essence realm. Yi Xian was slightly helpless. The soul essence realm could use the heaven and earth yuan qi. Whether it was sword techniques or movement techniques, they had far surpassed the spirit realm. If Yi Xian was at the soul essence realm, he could instantly kill this giant mountain splitting ape even if he only opened one earth vein. However, Yi Xian's hidden dragon sword art was only at 30%. There was still a lot of room for improvement. Chapter 464. Fallen Spirit Sect, Ding. Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 40%. Ding. Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 50%. Ding. Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level has increased. Current proficiency level is 60%. Yi Xian fought with the giant mountain splitting ape for a full 5 minutes before he finally raised the Hidden Dragon Sword Art's proficiency level to 60%. He was still in the spirit realm, so he was unable to raise the heaven tier martial arts proficiency level to 70%. The highest he could reach was 60%. Right now, Yi Xian was already able to cause quite a bit of damage to the giant mountain splitting ape. Since the giant mountain splitting ape was a corpse, its blood had already been drained dry. Yi Xian chopped at its right leg, and in a short while, the giant mountain splitting ape's leg was chopped off. Then, its huge body fell to the ground, smashing into a pile of skeletons and corpses. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian jumped onto the giant mountain splitting ape's body. Then, he ran to its neck and attacked crazily. After a short while, the giant mountain splitting ape's head was chopped off by Yi Xian. Ding! Host has broken through to rank 9. Although the giant mountain splitting ape's corpse did not contain the soul of a sacred beast, it allowed Yi Xian to break through to rank 9. Now, Yi Xian was only 2 steps away from the spirit realm. If it was someone from the fallen spirit sect or the corpse master sect, it would be troublesome. However, it is not a threat to me at all. Yi Xian shook his head and started to kill the surrounding skeletons again. Since there was a spirit realm sacred beast's corpse here, there should be a second one. Yi Xian searched for the entrance to the 5th floor while looking for more giant mountain splitting apes. He searched along the walls and found a second giant mountain splitting ape. However, this giant mountain splitting ape was currently fighting with a group of people. Vengeful spirits? Yi Xian looked from afar and saw many translucent vengeful spirits flying in the air. These vengeful spirits ignored the bone spikes in the air and attacked the skeletons around them. Vengeful spirits were special creatures. Weapons could not hurt them. Hence, these skeletons were not a threat to them. However, when a vengeful spirit attacked, its fingernails would condense into a physical form, so it was very difficult to deal with. This was the first time Xian had seen a vengeful spirit since he entered the ghost tomb. Thus, he reckoned that this group should be from the fallen ghost sect. Although the Poison King sect has nothing to do with me, the fact that I was able to devour another devouring beast and increase my strength by leaps and bounds has a lot to do with Little Tong. Since we've met, I'll help you take revenge. Yi Xian's eyes flickered as he held the Bahuang's sword and directly charged over. This time, Fallen Spirit Sect had sent over 20 people. All of them were at least level 9, and there were even 5 who were at level 10. As for the elder leading the group, he was naturally the sect leader of the Fallen Spirit Sect, Dolly of the Essence Soul Realm. At this point, he was holding back the giant mountain-cleaving ape alone. The rest of the Fallen Spirit Sect disciples had formed a circle to fend off the skeleton army. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was defending against the flying bone spikes and attacking the giant mountain-splitting ape. All of a sudden he felt something. He turned around and saw Yi Xian charging towards him. However, he did not pay much attention to him. After all, Yi Xian was only a 9th Order Earth Force cultivator. However, what happened next was beyond his expectations. After Yi Xian charged over, the elders under him began to die one by one. The vengeful spirits he controlled also lost control and launched a counterattack. How is this possible? The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect opened his eyes wide in disbelief. The people he brought were all elites, but they were all slaughtered by a rank 9 astral energy warrior. He even suspected that he was dreaming. You broke through? The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect trembled once more as he saw the number of dragons in Yi Xian's flying dragon count increasing rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the number of dragons had increased to 2,900. Level 10 gang energy. Fallen Spirit sect leader's face fell as he turned around and charged towards Yi Xian. Golden Platform Demon Vanquishing Palm. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect made use of his own vital energy to control the surrounding Yuan Qi. He gathered the Yuan Qi in his palm and blasted it out. Yi Xian, who was in the midst of killing the elders of Fallen Spirit Sect, turned around and saw a gigantic golden palm coming towards him. What the F***CK? Is this the Buddha's palm? Yi Xian felt a strong sense of pressure as he hurriedly activated his Beast King's rampage. With a speed of nearly 5,000 dragons, he managed to evade the gigantic palm attack. You wasted one of my Beast King's rampage. See if I don't kill you. Yi Xian was enraged as he swiftly dealt with the remaining elders of Fallen Spirit Sect before charging towards Yi Xian. What incredible speed! I can't fight him head-on. To be able to become the leader of an intermediate-level territory, the sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was not to be trifled with. When he saw Yi Xian's strength, he immediately turned around and fled. Although the bone spikes in the air were fast and there were many of them, they could not do anything to a spirit refinement stage cultivator who had already unblocked 2 earth veins. Trying to escape? Yi Xian did not fly up into the air. Instead, he was like a sharp blade as he broke through the waves of bone spikes and chased after the sect leader. Hidden Dragon Swordplay. Hidden Dragon Pierce. A ray of cold light flashed past and penetrated the sect leader's shoulder in the blink of an eye. What? The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was shocked. This time, if not for the fact that Yi Xian had miscalculated, his head would have been pierced through. Xiao! Another ray of cold light shot towards him. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was forced to throw out a punch. However, he did not expect that his punch would be destroyed by this ray of cold light. Pooh! The ray of cold light penetrated his palm and pierced through his entire arm before exiting from his back. This arm of his would be crippled in a short period of time. If it was only his arm that was pierced through, it would still be all right. However, his bones had been pierced through as well. His arm was now limp as it rested weakly on his thigh. You deserve to die. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was enraged as he charged towards Yi Xian. Just in time. Yi Xian shouted out. If he could kill this sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect, he might be able to break through to the Spirit Essence stage. Fight! In an instant, the two of them started exchanging blows, completely ignoring the skeleton army around them. The Spirit Essence stage already possessed the power to destroy the heavens and earth. The skeleton army around them was instantly cleared out and retreated by more than 10 meters. This was the first time Yi Xian was fighting against a spirit essence stage expert. Luckily, he was prepared and activated the Beast King's rampage. If not, based on his speed, he might not be able to catch up with the sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect. However, after activating the Beast King's rampage, the sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was no longer able to do anything to him. A high-grade heaven-tier martial art. At most you should be at 50% completion. Since that's the case, you can go and die. Yi Xian was filled with killing intent. At this point, he had already broken through to 60% completion in his Azure Dragon steps. His speed increased tremendously once again. This person is so strong. Where did he come from? Not only did he kill all the elders of Fallen Spirit Sect, even I won't be able to escape death. The sect leader of Fallen Spirit Sect was in despair. All of his attacks had been dodged by Yi Xian. This meant that he would not be able to kill Yi Xian. Chapter 465. Translator, Exodus Tales Editor, Exodus Tales Vengeful Spirit. However, before the Fallen Spirit Sect leader could finish his thoughts, a long sword pierced through his head and came out from his forehead. The Fallen Spirit Sect leader was dead. At that moment, Yi Xian kept the Fallen Spirit Sect leader's Qian ring and devoured it. Unexpectedly, the Fallen Spirit Sect leader's Qian ring did not contain many items. He only managed to break through to the Spirit Essence realm with 2,997 dragons. He was just a little bit away from breaking through to the Spirit Essence realm. However, Yi Xian did not mind at all. At that moment, a huge figure was charging towards him. The giant mountain splitter ape. Pang! The giant mountain splitter ape stepped on Yi Xian's previous position. Just as it landed on the ground, Yi Xian was already behind it. Golden platform demon exterminating palm. Yi Xian struck out with his left palm. The golden palm landed on the giant mountain splitter ape's back, causing it to fall to the ground before it could even stand up. Many skeletons were crushed to death. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian dashed forward and attacked crazily. Under the Beast King's rage, Yi Xian's attacks were extremely powerful. In less than 3 seconds, the giant mountain splitter ape's head was chopped off. Ding! Host has broken through to 3,000 dragons of power. Ding! Host has broken through to the Spirit Essence realm. Ding! Host has opened up 1 earth vein. After hearing the 3 consecutive notifications, Yi Xian could not help but howl towards the sky. Spirit Essence realm. He had finally broken through to the Spirit Essence realm. At the moment of breaking through, the aura in his golden dantian had also turned into a spirit essence. Now, he could use the yuan qi of heaven and earth to attack. Let me try the power of the Spirit Essence realm. Yi Xian leaped into the air and struck down with his palm. In an instant, thousands of skeletons were turned into dust. He had just started learning the golden platform demon exterminating palm and had only opened up 1 earth vein. However, the power of his martial arts was already so strong. He was indeed worthy of being in the Spirit Essence realm. Just as Yi Xian nodded his head satisfactorily, a gust of wind blew into his ears. Kacha kacha! The Bahuang sword instantly shattered, cutting off the bone spurs that were shooting towards him. Originally, his cultivation level was his weakness. Regardless of whether it was kinesis flight or anything else, he was always inferior to others. But now he was no longer afraid. However, royal air flight had nothing to do with strength, so his agility advancement had no effect. Yi Xian felt a lot more relaxed now that he could fly. After all, the skeleton army below did not have wings. He returned to his original position and searched along the stone wall. Fallen Spirit Sect had been in the ghost tomb for at least a day. Yi Xian had entered so late, yet he had encountered Fallen Spirit Sect. It seemed like the entrance to the 5th level was difficult to find. Yi Xian searched along the stone walls to see if there were any more giant mountain-splitting apes. However, right at that moment, he suddenly felt that something was strange. He turned around to take a look. What he saw almost scared him to the point of peeing his pants. No wonder Yi Xian felt so creepy behind him. It turned out that there was a vengeful spirit following behind him. If this were any other time, Yi Xian would definitely have slain this vengeful spirit. However, this time he did not do so. This vengeful spirit was very small. She looked to be about 5 or 6 years old, and was even a little girl. This little vengeful spirit looked at Xianxia with her large scarlet eyes. She floated in the air, motionless. Xianxia had killed at least 8,000 people, if not 10,000. However, he had never killed a child before. Fallen Spirit sect is really cruel. They won't even let the vengeful spirit of a child go. Xianxia shook his head helplessly. Then, he turned around and left. He still could not bring himself to do it, even though this was just a vengeful spirit. However, after flying for a while, he turned around again. He realized that this little vengeful spirit was still following him, maintaining a distance of 1,000 meters. "Why are you following me?" Xianxia asked with a frown. He did not know if a vengeful spirit retained their memories after death. However, the vengeful spirits he had seen before would pounce on a living person the moment they saw one. This little vengeful spirit did not. It was a little strange. At that moment, this little vengeful spirit suddenly stretched out her hand. Her fingers curled, making a circle. Circle. Xianxia raised his eyebrows. This little vengeful spirit could actually understand his words. This meant that this little vengeful spirit had consciousness. In the next moment he understood. He immediately said, "100 ghost pearl?" After hearing this, the little vengeful spirit nodded. It turned out that this little vengeful spirit wanted to be kept in the 100 ghost pearl. Fine. Xianxia casually took out 100 ghost pearl. Then, he activated the secret tome of ghosts and kept the little vengeful spirit in it. People in the land of ghosts could refine vengeful spirits to cultivate. Xianxia also cultivated the secret tome of ghosts, but he did not do so. Besides, instead of spending a lot of time refining a vengeful spirit, he might as well go out and kill some sacred beasts. After that, Xianxia continued to look for the entrance to the 5th level. However, what he had forgotten was that the little vengeful spirit was able to keep up with his soul essence realm speed. At this time, it had been an hour since Xianxia entered the 4th level of the ghost tomb. During this hour, he kept looking for the entrance to the 5th level in the sky. It had to be said that he was unlucky this time. He went around in a big circle before he found the entrance to the 5th level. There was also a seal at the entrance to the 5th level. It was the 2nd seal of the ghost tomb. After finding the entrance, Xianxia directly rushed in and arrived at the 5th level in the blink of an eye. The 5th level of the ghost tomb was completely different from the 4th level. The 5th level was not big, and the surrounding stone walls were built into a palace. At this time, in front of Xianxia, there were 8 huge pillars. After Xianxia arrived, he heard a series of rumbling sounds. In front of him, there was a huge chaotic battle. He looked around and saw another passage not far away. It seemed that that was the other entrance to the ghost tomb. However, none of this mattered anymore. He went over and found that the 100 people were not fighting each other, but 2 vengeful spirits. So strong. 12 soul essence realm experts can only fight to a draw with these 2 vengeful spirits. Xianxia frowned. At this time, someone suddenly shouted, "Another soul essence realm expert is here. Come and help." The soul essence realm expert that this person was talking about was none other than Xianxia. The 12 people who were fighting with the 2 vengeful spirits turned their heads and saw Xianxia running towards them. There was no flying dragon trash. This meant that he was at the soul essence realm. "Little brother, come and help," a strong man shouted. Xianxia was puzzled. He had just come down. It was good enough that he did not cause trouble. These people were calling for him to help. Was this a joke? He roughly observed them. Among the 12 people, even the weakest 4 were on par with the fallen spirit sect leader. The other 8 were much stronger. He estimated that he could at most fight with 4 of them. If 8 of them came, his life would be in danger. Chapter 466. Ghost King Palace. The Ghost King's Pearl? Xianxia was stunned. The most precious item in the ghost tomb was the Ghost King's Pearl. No one knew the exact realm of the Ghost King, but if the 3rd row of wraiths guarding the Ghost King's Pearl were so powerful, the 4th row of wraiths would be even more so. The Ghost King must be stronger than them, right? Xianxia suddenly remembered that the ghost tomb had been explored several times. The 1st to 3rd rows of the ghost tomb must have been in good condition before, but after people entered, they all woke up. However, after several explorations, the Ghost King's Pearl was still there. He could try to guess. First, the previous explorers were too weak and died. Second, they saw that the Ghost King's Pearl was too powerful and retreated. Yi Xian felt that the first possibility was more likely because he felt that the Ghost King Palace was a little eerie. Moreover, the group in front was still fighting two wraiths. After those two wraiths, there were two more powerful ones. It was precisely because of this that Yi Xian didn't make a move and snatched all of their universe rings. However, if he did not take action, the group would not be able to kill the two wraiths. He immediately rushed over and joined the battle. Although his realm was the lowest, his strength was above everyone else. As soon as he joined the battle, the two wraiths were pierced through by his sword. Their spiritual bodies shook violently. So strong. That was what everyone thought. The score was originally 6-6, but now that Yi Xian had joined the battle, it became 6-7. In less than 5 seconds, the wraiths that Yi Xian was in charge of were killed and dissipated. Not long after, the second wraith died. Phew, we finally killed the third column's wraiths. The group heaved a sigh of relief. Yi Xian looked around. There were at least 8 factions in the 100. Even if they killed the fourth column's wraiths, there was only one Ghost King's Pearl. How would they split it? He was afraid that he could only fight to the death. However, with Yi Xian's participation, there were 9 factions. Little brother, where are you from? An old man stepped forward. Everywhere is my home. I just happened to pass by, Yi Xian replied casually. Oh! When the old man heard this, his eyes immediately lit up as he said, I wonder if little brother has heard of the legend of this ghost tomb? I know. Yi Xian nodded. Haha, good. I am the sect master of the Eastern Mountain Territory's Heaven's Peak sect. I earnestly request little brother to lend us a helping hand. After this matter is completed, there will definitely be generous rewards. The old man got straight to the point. Sure enough, this was exactly as Yi Xian had guessed. When these people saw that he was alone, they began to rope him in. The other powers also had the same idea. However, Yi Xian shook his head and said, Sorry, I'm also interested in this Ghost King Pearl. You overestimate yourself. As soon as he said this, someone released a cold snort. It was a robust man. Yi Xian had taken a look just now. This brawny man's strength was about the same as the old man in front of him. These two were the top experts among the 12 people. Little brother, are you not going to consider it? The old man narrowed his eyes and asked. Nope. Yi Xian directly shook his head. The old man did not say anything else. After all, those who could cultivate to this level were not fools. Furthermore, they were all ambitious. The Ghost King in the Ghost King Pearl was at the Soul Essence realm at the very least. If an expert comparable to the 72 ley veins appeared, then they would have struck gold. Alright, since that's the case, then let's discuss how to deal with the vengeful spirits of the fourth pillar, the old man said loudly. Everyone gathered around. These 8 powers were led by the old man and the robust man. The last 2 pillars had 2 vengeful spirits, so naturally, they were divided into 2 teams. The configuration was actually the same as before, but Yi Xian, who had just arrived, had to choose a side to fight on. This side. Yi Xian glanced at the old man. After all, the robust man had just slandered him. If he did not teach him a lesson, he would really think that Yi Xian was a sick cat. Yi Xian's position was very important. After all, there were 9 powers here. If one of the vengeful spirits died, no one could guarantee that those people would not help. Humph. The robust man also snorted coldly in dissatisfaction. All right, since that's the case, then it's settled. The 7 of us will be on the left, and the 6 of you will be on the right, the old man said with a satisfied smile. The robust man did not refute and snorted again. Soon, the 100 people were divided into 2 teams. Under the old man's order, they approached the 4th pillar. Sure enough, when they got closer, 2 figures appeared on the pillars. Kill! Whoever dares to go first, everyone will attack together. The old man shouted. In an instant, the group of people attacked the 2 female vengeful spirits with disheveled hair. The 2 female vengeful spirits had crazily long fingernails and defeated all the attacks. However, they did not dare to take the attacks of Soul Essence realm experts head-on. Yi Xian had also found a good position and started attacking. As for the bait, the old man would be the bait. The strength of these 2 female vengeful spirits was indeed stronger than the 3rd pillar. If Yi Xian had not joined in, the left side would not have been able to hold on. Before Yi Xian joined in, the strength of the right side was about the same as the left side. Therefore the right side was instantly breached, and a soul essence realm expert died. Not good. The old man's face sank. He did not care about the vengeful spirits anymore and directly rushed towards the Ghost King Pearl. Not only him, but the others also did the same. In an instant, the two vengeful spirits began their massacre. As for Yi Xian, he did not rush over. Instead, he began to collect the universe rings. After all, the Ghost King Pearl would not run away, and these people could not immediately control the Ghost King. Besides, there was only one entrance, so he was not in a hurry. Yi Xian shuttled through the crowd. Everywhere he passed, there would be a series of intense screams. Those who were targeted by Yi Xian would naturally have one of their wrists broken. At this moment, a person had already climbed up the platform where the Ghost King Pearl was placed. It was the old man. However, in the next moment, countless attacks swept towards him. A battle instantly broke out in front of him. A group of people were fighting for the Ghost King Pearl. Two battles broke out in the Ghost King Palace. Yi Xian was fishing in troubled waters. He took all the universe rings of those warriors who had not even reached the soul essence realm. However, he did not kill these people. He just let them attract the vengeful spirit's attention. He devoured all the things in the universe rings, but unfortunately, even with so many things, it was still not enough for him to break through. At this moment, he placed his attention on the platform again. No one had obtained the Black Ghost King Pearl. The old man and the brawny man were also fighting. It had to be said that greedy people were too terrifying. In order to fight for the Ghost King Pearl, these 11 people did not even care about their own team. Suddenly, a soul essence realm expert touched the Ghost King Pearl. However, in the next moment, his hand was directly chopped off, followed by his head. The soul essence realm experts were instantly reduced to 10 people. Chapter 467. A chaotic battle. However, at that moment, someone suddenly shouted, "The Ghost King Pearl is cracked! The Ghost King Pearl is cracked!" What? Everyone present was stunned and turned their heads to look. Indeed, there was a crack on the Black Ghost King Pearl. This meant that the Ghost King was no longer in the Ghost King Pearl. How is this possible? Everyone's eyes widened. It was a waste of energy for them to fight over such a useless pearl. On the other side, the two wraiths were also slaughtered by those who had not reached the soul essence realm. Not a single one was left. Then they pounced over. Not good, let's get rid of these two wraiths first. The old man's expression changed as he exchanged glances with the brawny man. The 10 of them were still attacking each other earlier, but now, they had reached a consensus to kill the wraiths first. Yi Xian also took the unlucky guy's universe ring and joined the battle. I'll hold this one back first. You guys quickly kill it. The old man volunteered. He had already opened 3 earth veins, so it was not a problem for him to hold it back for a short period of time. The other 9 people and Yi Xian paused for a moment, then instantly attacked the other one. The 10 soul essence realm experts attacked together, and the damage was off the charts. In less than 10 seconds, the wraiths were killed. Although these two wraiths are not strong, their vitality is much higher than ordinary wraiths, Yi Xian thought in his heart. Soon, the second wraiths also fell. The reason why they were divided into 2 teams instead of holding back one while the others quickly dealt with the other was because they belonged to different factions. Now, other than the 11 of them, there were no other living people in the Ghost King Palace. Sigh, what a blunder. The Ghost King has already broken the seal. The old man looked at the group of corpses on the 4th pillar and shook his head helplessly. This ghost tomb has 3 seals. The Ghost King has already broken the first seal, and there is a second seal at the entrance of the Ghost King Palace. I wonder where the Ghost King is now? Someone asked. Maybe it's nearby. Be careful. The 10 of them looked around vigilantly. They had a common enemy now, and that was the Ghost King. If they were not careful, all of them might very well die here. At this moment, they could only pray in their hearts that this Ghost King was not too strong. They looked around for a few minutes but found nothing. This Ghost King might have already broken the second seal, or even the third seal. That's right. If it was still here, it would definitely have attacked. Then we. At this moment, the group of people suddenly turned their gazes to Yi Xian. Yes. Yi Xian sensed their gazes and immediately dashed out. He asked in shock, "What are you guys trying to do?" He found it very strange. These people were still fighting with their lives on the line, but now all their attention was on him. Their eyes were full of killing intent. However, in the next moment, this group of people dispersed into 7 groups. There were 2 people on the old man's side and 2 people on the brawny man's side. The remaining 6 people formed a team. Since the Ghost King's pearl is useless, what are these people doing? Are they eyeing other people's cosmos rings? Xianxia silently said in his heart. This way, it was to his liking. After all, he was doing this for the universe ring. At this moment, the old man said loudly, "Everyone, since the Ghost King's pearl is useless, shouldn't you be leaving?" As soon as he said this, the brawny man immediately retorted, "Old man, do you think I don't know? If we leave, you'll keep it all to yourself?" Hearing their words, Xianxia was deeply surprised. Could it be that there were other good things in the Ghost King Palace? Little brother, from the looks of it, you probably don't know. I beg you to help me again. After this is done, I'll definitely reward you handsomely. The old man tried to rope him in again. This was because he could see that Xianxia was much stronger than the others. Do you think I'm stupid? Xianxia sneered. In fact, he did not know anything. He was just acting. So you've heard. The old man narrowed his eyes. He originally thought that Xianxia was just passing by like what he said. He did not expect Xianxia to know. Old man, we haven't found the item yet. Are we going to start a fight? A soul essence realm expert asked. All right, if that's the case, let's find the item first. The old man nodded. Sure enough, there are other things in the Ghost King Palace that are more precious than the Ghost King's pearl. Xianxia's eyes lit up. Previously, the middle-aged man from the Poison King sect only talked about the Ghost King's pearl. However, these experts from other territories knew more. This was a little inconceivable. All right, then let's rely on our own abilities. The brawny man also agreed. At this moment, they dispersed in a hubbub, looking for something in the Ghost King Palace. Xianxia also followed their example and wandered around the Ghost King Palace. However, he did not know what these people were looking for. The 11 of them wandered around the Ghost King Palace. At the same time, they were also observing the others to see if they had found anything. At this moment, suddenly, a scream rang out. Everyone turned their heads and saw that a Soul Essence Realm expert's head had been chopped off. And the one who chopped off his head was that old man. Found it? Everyone thought so in their hearts. The atmosphere in the Ghost King Palace instantly became oppressive. Immediately after, the battle broke out again. Brat, I've been annoyed with you for a long time. Go to hell. A Soul Essence Realm expert shouted and charged towards Xianxia. You're courting death. Xianxia's eyes shot out 2 rays of light as he directly activated Beast King Rampage. Although power was not very useful in the Soul Essence Realm, it was still useful to increase one's strength. Although this Soul Essence Realm expert had only opened 1 earth vein, he was already trying to open the second one. His strength was not bad. Unfortunately, he encountered Xianxia. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Thrust. A cold gleam entered the Soul Essence Realm expert's head, instantly killing him. He would never have thought that Xianxia's Hidden Dragon Sword Art had already reached 90% mastery. Although they had both opened 1 earth vein, Xianxia's strength was not something he could compare to. Humph! Xianxia snorted coldly and went over to take the universe ring. Ding! The host has opened 2 earth veins. A notification sound rang out. In the Soul Essence Realm, every time one opened an earth vein, they would be able to use more Yuan Qi. This time, Xianxia's strength had a huge leap. After he killed this person, he turned his head and saw that Jiu had already started fighting on the other side. That old man had already become everyone's target and was being attacked by a group of people. No, the bloodline seed is not with me. Chapter 468. All of them fell. At this moment, excluding Xianxia, there were only 9 people left in the Ghost King Palace. The old man had a companion, so the 2 of them were defending against the attacks of the other 7 people. Even though the old man was an expert with 3 earth veins, he couldn't withstand such a torment. However, he revealed the secret of the Ghost King Palace. Bloodline Seed. When Xianxia heard this, he was a little surprised. It turned out that there was a bloodline seed in the Ghost King Palace. It was most likely left behind by the owner of the Ghost Tomb. No wonder. This bloodline seed should be a heaven-level martial art. It's definitely more precious than the Ghost King Pearl. Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Right now, he was learning an upper-level heaven-level martial art. Heaven-level martial arts could only be learned by those in the spirit realm. Even if he couldn't use it, he could still take it. At this moment, he also charged over. It's not mine. Take this interspatial ring if you want it. The old man threw the interspatial ring that he had just obtained at a random person. In an instant, that person became everyone's target and died in less than a second. After he died, the interspatial ring was obtained by the nearest robust man. The robust man checked it, and sure enough, there was no bloodline seed in the interspatial ring. At this moment, he finally understood that the old man was preemptive. He planned to kill everyone before looking for the bloodline seed. Old man, let's work together to kill them. The robust man yelled. Okay. The old man nodded. Both of them had already opened 3 earth veins. In addition, there was an expert with 2 earth veins on each side. With the 4 of them working together, it was enough to kill everyone. Among the remaining 4 people, one of them had only opened 1 earth vein. They couldn't stop the robust man and the old man at all. However, there was a soul refinement stage expert who had opened 2 earth veins that targeted Yi Xian. You really don't know what's good for you. Did you not see how I instantly killed that person? Yi Xian sneered in his heart. His speed instantly increased. Azure Dragon Steps at 70% mastery. Hidden Dragon Sword Art at 90% mastery. Sword Saint Bloodline. Beast King Bloodline. These were enough for Yi Xian to challenge those in the soul refinement stage. Swish! Yi Xian's speed exploded to the extreme as he instantly arrived beside the Blind Essence Soul Realm martial artist and stabbed out with his sword. Gotcha! This martial artist's head was directly pierced through. Yi Xian didn't even use the hidden dragon sword technique. After his death, his interspatial ring instantly fell into the hands of Yi Xian. Yi Xian's strength also increased a little because of this. Among these people, the highest realm among them had only opened 3 earth veins, so their attainments in Tian-class martial arts were not high. Only the old man and the brawny man had reached 40% completion, while Yi Xian was only 1 step away from 100% completion. This was the difference between them. While Yi Xian was killing this cultivator, the brawny man was also killing the rest. There were only 4 people left in the Ghost King Palace. When the brawny man turned around, he saw that his companion had been killed by Yi Xian. He immediately roared, "How dare you kill him? Not only do I dare to kill him, I dare to kill you too." Yi Xian shouted coldly and suddenly moved forward. Although he had only opened 2 earth veins, his strength definitely surpassed that of the brawny man who had opened 3 earth veins. In an instant, the 2 of them exchanged blows. However, just as they came into contact, the brawny man was forced to retreat from the impact. In just 1 round, the outcome was decided. In the second round, Yi Xian directly used his killing move. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Stab. Yi Xian's eyes flashed as the long sword in his hand pierced out like lightning. The cold gleam from the tip of the sword instantly entered the brawny man's glabella. The brawny man, a soul refinement stage expert who had opened 3 earth veins, fell just like that. Yi Xian swept over and devoured his interspatial ring. Just a little more. These items were not enough for him to open 3 earth veins. Therefore, Yi Xian placed his attention on the old man and the other middle-aged man. Since Yi Xian had the ability to kill the brawny man, he naturally posed a threat to them. "Little brother, there is no enmity between us. Let's stop here." The old man looked at Yi Xian and suddenly felt a little worried. He felt that even if the 2 of them joined forces, they were still no match for Yi Xian. "Hand over your interspatial rings and I can spare your lives," Yi Xian said coldly. After the old man heard this, he exchanged glances with the middle-aged man beside him and shouted angrily, "Don't be too greedy in life. Little brother, don't be too greedy. If that's the case, then I'll just have to do it myself. When the time comes, I won't show any mercy." Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. The old man hesitated for a moment. "Then this old man would like to see what you have to say such words." Immediately, the 2 of them rushed out. Right now, there were only the 3 of them left in the Ghost King Hall. As long as they killed Yi Xian, the legendary bloodline seed would be theirs. Humph, die! Yi Xian's eyes were filled with murderous intent as his aura surged. One of them had opened 3 earth veins, while the other had opened 2. It was not a big deal to him. Hidden dragon swordsmanship. Yi Xian immediately used his most powerful martial technique. He used the vital qi in his body to manipulate the surrounding heaven and earth yuan qi. This made his attack twice as powerful as the other two combined. So powerful. I'm afraid he has reached 100% mastery. The old man and the middle-aged man exchanged glances. Although Yi Xian's hidden dragon swordsmanship was only at 90% mastery, he had the sacred swordsman bloodline and the enhancement of the Bahuang sword. Its power was definitely on par with, or even surpassing 100% mastery. It seemed that they had bitten off more than they could chew. They guessed that Yi Xian must be from some big faction. Otherwise, it would be rare for a disciple from a big sect to reach 100% mastery of an upper-grade heaven-level martial technique at such a young age. Let's go! The old man knew that he was no match for Yi Xian, and immediately shouted in a low voice. You're too naive. Dang! Yi Xian took advantage of the moment when the middle-aged man turned around and quickly stabbed with his sword, instantly killing the middle-aged man. Next, it was a one-on-one battle. Originally, the old man and the middle-aged man were unable to do anything to Yi Xian in a 2-on-1 battle. Now that it was a 1-on-1 battle, it was impossible for the old man to be Yi Xian's opponent. Stop. I admit defeat. I'll give you the universe ring. When the old man saw Yi Xian's insane speed, he hurriedly shouted. Do I need you to give it to me? Yi Xian shouted angrily. In less than 3 rounds, he had killed the old man. Ding! The host has opened the 3rd earth vein. Another notification sound rang out. Yi Xian could not help but laugh. These people were all top experts from a big faction. Their net worth was definitely not low. However, it did not matter. Even if their net worth increased by 100 times, it would not be able to match the martial arts seed of a spirit stage expert. Now, no one will fight with me. Yi Xian rushed out once again and searched the Ghost King Palace. He wondered where the martial arts seed was hidden. Chapter 469. Xianxia Palace. Where is the bloodline seed? I've been searching so carefully, why can't I find anything? Yi Xian was very helpless. He searched around again, but he still couldn't find anything. He also tried to destroy the surrounding walls and pillars, but he wasn't strong enough. It seemed that there were only a few possibilities. First, there was no bloodline seed at all. Second, it had been taken away by someone. Third, the bloodline seed was in a place that he couldn't get for the time being. I don't believe it. Yi Xian circled the Ghost King Palace a few more times, but he still couldn't find anything. He gave up. Forget it. It's not bad to be able to open up 3 earth veins. Yi Xian left the 5th floor in disappointment. Then he walked around the 4th floor and found the Corpse Master sect, so he destroyed it along the way. Then he left the Ghost Tomb. Although he didn't obtain the Ghost King Pearl or the martial arts seed in this trip to the Ghost Tomb, he broke through to the Soul Essence realm and opened up 3 earth veins. This was already considered very good. According to the middle-aged man from the Poison King sect, after the seal at the entrance of the Ghost Tomb was broken, it would close after a certain period of time. At that time, it would need another 10 million resentful spirits. Yi Xian couldn't be bothered to care about it. He could do whatever he wanted. When he left the Ghost Tomb and was about to leave, he suddenly encountered a team that had just arrived. There were 10 people in this team, and all of them were wearing white clothes. This was the first time Yi Xian saw them. However, the strength of this team shocked him. These 10 people were all Soul Essence Realm experts. Which territory is this force from? 10 Soul Essence Realm experts, and they are all around 30 years old. I just don't know how strong they are. Yi Xian frowned. Just as he was about to retreat, he was stared at by a few people. Stop! A young man shouted. It was obvious that he was calling for Yi Xian. When Yi Xian heard the voice, he couldn't help but stop in his tracks. He felt that the people in this team were not at a lower realm than him. Of course, realm did not represent strength. It was obvious that the weak could defeat the strong in the Soul Essence realm. What's the matter? Yi Xian turned to look at them. A young man took a few steps forward and said, Did you just come out from the Ghost Tomb? So what if I am? Yi Xian replied coldly. He did not give them any face. After all, this person's attitude was not good from the start. He did not ask them to slow down, but to stand still. Is the Ghost King's pearl still inside? The young man asked again. I don't know. I didn't pass the 4th level. Yi Xian shook his head. The 4th floor. The 10 of them looked at each other. They didn't know much about the ghost tomb. Come here and take us down, the young man said in a commanding tone. This made Yi Xian very unhappy. Are you my son? Do you think I can just take you in just because you want to? My apologies. I still have matters to attend to. Farewell. Yi Xian cupped his fists at them, then turned around and left. What a guy! How dare you be so arrogant? You're courting death. The young man was furious. He immediately drew his sword and charged towards Yi Xian. F***ck your brother-in-law. Do you think I, Yi Xian, am easy to bully? Yi Xian could not take it anymore. He took out the Bahuang sword and stabbed. Whoosh! This sword was as smooth as flowing water and as fast as lightning. The silver light swept in front of the young man in an instant. The young man was shocked. He dodged sideways, but his reaction was a little slow. The silver light pierced through his left shoulder. By the time he reacted, Yi Xian's other sword had arrived. The young man's right shoulder was hit again. Blood spurted out. What a fast attack! The 9 people behind the young man were slightly shocked. They all wondered if they could have dodged those 2 swords if they had been in his place. If Yi Xian did not know the cultivation level of the leader and did not want to cause trouble, the young man would have been dead. You're courting death. The young man's shoulders were pierced. He was furious and prepared to fight to the death with Yi Xian. But at this moment, the leader of the group, the man with sword-like eyebrows, shouted, Stop! The young man steadied himself and looked at the man with sword-like eyebrows. The man with sword-like eyebrows frowned. Yi Xian's age and strength were similar to theirs. He must be from some big force. I am Yi Feng, a disciple of Xianxia Palace in Jianghu territory. May I ask who you are? The man with sword-like eyebrows asked politely. But it was too late to treat him politely. What does it have to do with you who I am? Yi Xian answered coldly. Since he had already made a move and made a grudge, he could not be a coward. How dare you? How dare you be disrespectful to senior brother Yi? 2 disciples immediately jumped out and pointed at Yi Xian's nose in exasperation. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly remembered that Jianghu territory seemed to be the most powerful middle-level territory in this area. He did not expect that the people of Jianghu territory would also come. You are not from Ghost Tomb territory, right? I hope you can forgive us for offending you just now. The man with sword-like eyebrows cupped his fist and said. The surrounding disciples were very puzzled. Even if Yi Xian had a strong background, he was only one person after all. Moreover, Yi Xian had injured their junior brother, but the man with sword-like eyebrows still had to respectfully greet him. What was going on? These disciples all knew the habits of the man with sword-like eyebrows. If it was in the past, he would have killed Yi Xian long ago. Goodbye. Yi Xian did not want to talk nonsense with them. After saying that, he turned around and left. This time, the man with sword-like eyebrows could not bear it anymore and shouted angrily. Stop! TSK! TSK! You really showed your true colors. Yi Xian sneered and turned around. He knew that the man with sword-like eyebrows must be thinking about him. This group of people clearly had the strength to enter Ghost Tomb directly, but they insisted on letting him lead them. There must be something fishy. No, it should be said that the man with sword-like eyebrows was strange. What do you want? Yi Xian asked. The man with sword-like eyebrows paused and said, Your body is contaminated with too much evil aura. There must be something extremely evil in your interspatial ring. Hand over your interspatial ring. Yi Xian raised his eyebrows and said, Nonsense. I stayed in Ghost Tomb for a few months. How can there be no evil aura on me? Our Xianxia Palace is very sensitive to evil aura. You must have something like the 100 Ghost Pearl in your interspatial ring. At the same time, you must have practiced this kind of cultivation method. The man with sword-like eyebrows said. So what? Yi Xian replied. Our Xianxia Palace is responsible for purifying evil. Since you have practiced this kind of cultivation method, you can forget about leaving today. The man with sword-like eyebrows narrowed his eyes. Purify evil? Do you think you are a priest? Yi Xian rolled his eyes. It seemed that there was going to be a tough battle. He estimated that the man with sword-like eyebrows had opened 5 meridians, or even more. After hearing what the man with sword-like eyebrows said, the group of disciples also surrounded them. Ordinary people would be at a loss when faced with such a situation, but Yi Xian liked to fight in groups. This way, he could find a soft persimmon to pinch. He did not believe that this group of people could practice a heaven-level body movement technique to 60%. Chapter 470. Ghost King, say your grandmother's leg. Yi Xian cursed. Do it. The man with the sword-shaped eyebrows shouted, and the other 9 men simultaneously launched their attacks at Yi Xian. At the same time, Yi Xian's figure flashed as he launched a counterattack. It had to be said that the strength of the disciples of Xianxia Palace was not bad. That young man was just careless. If he had been cautious, he would not have been hit so easily. The 9 disciples were also very surprised. Even when the 9 of them joined forces, they still couldn't do anything to Yi Xian. This was enough to prove Yi Xian's aptitude. Humph! The man with sword-like eyebrows snorted coldly. It was obvious that he was not satisfied with the 9 people's performance. He took out his weapon and prepared to attack personally. In the arena, Yi Xian's face was gloomy. These 9 people had already given him a lot of pressure. After fighting for 10 seconds, he had not injured a single person. If this man with sword-like eyebrows attacked again, he would be in trouble. At that moment, he quickly descended. You want to leave? The 9 disciples of Xianxia Palace gave chase. However, Yi Xian did not intend to leave for the time being. After all, it was easier for 9 people to dodge attacks in the air. On land, there would be fewer attacks. When the 9 of them landed on the ground, Yi Xian suddenly activated Beast King's Rampage. Although it didn't increase his spirit realm by as much, it still increased his chances of winning by 30%. At this moment, the man with sword-like eyebrows in the air finally made his move. Swish! The man with the sword-like eyebrows swooped down and gripped his sword tightly, preparing to kill Yi Xian in one strike. So fast! Yi Xian raised an eyebrow. This man's speed was almost on par with his. If it was a one-on-one battle, Yi Xian would not be afraid of him. However, there were still 9 small fries around him. Yi Xian was under a lot of pressure. However, at this moment, the interspatial ring in Yi Xian's hand suddenly glowed and a petite figure appeared. This change shocked Yi Xian. He turned his head and realized that it was a wraith. Moreover, it was the little vengeful spirit that he had taken in the end. How is that possible? Yi Xian's eyes widened. This little wraith should have already been stored in the 100 Ghost Pearl. But now, it had actually run out on its own. One should know that there were 2 restrictions. One was the 100 Ghost Pearl, and the other was the interspatial ring. Previously, Yi Xian had also sorted out the items and put all the 100 Ghost Pearls and 1,000 Ghost Pearls into his interspatial ring. He was going to find a place to bury them. After the little resentful spirit appeared, it smiled at Yi Xian. Then, it extended its fingernails and instantly rushed in front of a Prime Purity Palace disciple. Hiss! Before the disciple could react, the sharp nails pierced through his chest. He was stunned, and so were the others. Even Yi Xian was stunned. What was going on? Yi Xian did not understand what was going on. He watched as his disciple went limp on the ground. The man with sword-like eyebrows, who was swooping down, opened his eyes wide. He immediately changed his target. The little wraith had killed his Prime Purity Palace disciple. He was determined to destroy the little wraith. However, when he rushed in front of the little wraith, it killed another Prime Purity Palace disciple. Moreover, it was the young man whose shoulders were pierced by Yi Xian just now. Clang! A crisp sound was heard. The man with sword-like eyebrows and the little wraith came into contact. However, the former's long sword was blocked by the latter's fingernails. Now, Yi Xian also realized what was going on. No matter what was going on, this little wraith was helping him. Therefore, he could not waste this excellent opportunity. He immediately rushed out and put away the 2 interspatial rings. His cultivation level increased again. Although he did not open the same meridian again, he could mobilize more chi of heaven and earth. Originally, he was pinned down by 9 people. Now that 2 people were gone and his strength increased, the remaining 7 people would be defeated by him. Hidden Dragon Swordsmanship. Hidden Dragon Stab. He began to attack wildly. He was probably the only one who dared to use such a crazy move. In less than 2 seconds, a disciple's head was pierced. In the 3rd second, another disciple died. The little wraith was a great help to Yi Xian. It helped Yi Xian hold back the man with sword-like eyebrows, allowing Yi Xian to kill him with ease. Damn it, where did this damn thing come from? How can this brat control such a powerful wraith? The man with sword-like eyebrows cursed in his heart. If it were not for this little wraith, Yi Xian would have died under his sword. However, he could only watch as his junior brothers died one by one at the hands of Yi Xian. As for him, there was nothing he could do. Soon, the 9 people died under Yi Xian's sword one by one. At the same time, Yi Xian had opened 4 earth meridians. Now you're finished. Yi Xian widened his eyes and quickly rushed out. The man with sword-like eyebrows was livid. He wanted to leave, but this little wraith was faster than him and its attacks were fierce. He had no chance at all. If he waited until Yi Xian arrived, he would be dead meat. I can't accept this. I, Yi Feng, am going to be killed by this evil creature. I can't accept this. The man with sword-like eyebrows roared in his heart. At this moment, he understood why his senses were so strong. It was because he sensed this little wraith. Ghost King, she must be the Ghost King. The man with sword-like eyebrows finally reacted. In the ghost tomb, only the Ghost King had such powerful strength. If he had known, he would not have stopped Yi Xian. Unfortunately, he was too slow to react. Die! Yi Xian's eyes burst with murderous intent. The man with sword-like eyebrows was suppressed by the little wraith. Now that he joined in, the situation instantly became a one-sided affair. 3 seconds later, a bloody hole appeared between the man's eyebrows. Yi Xian's sword pierced through him. Dead. Phew, he's finally dead. Yi Xian breathed a sigh of relief. If he really had to face these 10 people from Xianxia Palace, he would have no choice but to run away. He would have to exhaust them to escape. However, he did not expect to have a helper. The man with sword-like eyebrows had already opened 6 earth veins. His strength was impressive, but he ended up with his head blown off. After the man with sword-like eyebrows died, Yi Xian quickly took his interspatial ring and unceremoniously devoured it. Then, he turned his attention to the little wraith nearby. You're the Ghost King, right? Yi Xian understood and asked. The little wraith retracted her fingernails and nodded. Who would have thought that the Ghost King was a little girl? Although she did not know if she was before, she was now. You broke the 1st and 2nd seals, but you can't break the 3rd seal. So you asked me to take you in and take you out of the ghost tomb? Yi Xian asked again. The little wraith nodded again. Indeed, she used Yi Xian because she could not break the 3rd seal of the ghost tomb. Yi Xian and the little wraith looked at each other for a while. The former was on the verge of breaking down. He had fought for the Ghost King's pearl just now, but he did not know that the Ghost King had been taken in by him. He was truly helpless. The ghost tomb was the place where the Ghost King was sealed. The Poison King sect was destroyed in order to protect the ghost tomb. Chapter 471. Bloodline Seed. Yi Xian was also hesitating. He was hesitating whether he should kill the little Ghost King to prevent it from harming the world. After all, the little Ghost King possessed intelligence. At this moment, the little vengeful spirit suddenly pointed at Yi Xian and then at her left hand. What? Yi Xian frowned and subconsciously looked at the universe ring on his left hand. He immersed his mind into the universe ring and was completely stunned in the next moment. There was an extra seed in his universe ring. It was a bloodline seed. This is the bloodline seed left behind by the spirit stage expert? Yi Xian widened his eyes in disbelief. It was obvious that this bloodline seed was left behind by the little vengeful spirit. He looked at the little vengeful spirit in horror. He saw the little vengeful spirit waving her translucent hand before turning around and flying away. Yi Xian did not chase after her. He took out the bloodline seed and was stunned. He had released the little vengeful spirit, and the little vengeful spirit had saved him once again. Now, he had obtained another bloodline seed. In the end, he still owed the little vengeful spirit a favor. Forget it. It doesn't seem to be as terrifying as the legends say. It shouldn't harm the world. Yi Xian shook his head. The little Ghost King still possessed intelligence. If she wanted to kill Yi Xian would have already died. In the blink of an eye, The little vengeful spirit disappeared from Yi Xian's sight. Let me see what this heaven-level martial art of yours is. Yi Xian held the bloodline seed in his hand and silently chanted, "Devour" in his heart. Ding! The host's realm is not high enough. The system notified. An ordinary person would refine the bloodline seed, but Yi Xian could directly devour it. Since the system had notified him, it meant that it would be useless even if he devoured it. As expected, even if I give this bloodline seed to that old man, he won't be able to refine it. Yi Xian was slightly helpless. However, he knew that this bloodline seed was a heaven-level martial art called the Heaven's Grudge Blade technique. It was a pity that he couldn't learn it. Otherwise, he wouldn't mind playing around with his saber. It had been more than half a year since he came to the Blood Rock continent. It was time to go back and take a look. I wonder how the Supreme Judge and the others are doing. Yi Xian thought to himself as he headed in one direction. This time, he wanted to return to the Heavenly Water continent and see his family. He spent a few days to rush to the deep-sea underground palace. However, there was another problem. This deep-sea underground palace was built by a soul essence realm expert. There was an array formation inside, and only people in the strength realm could pass through. Of course, it was also possible for one's strength to surpass the soul essence realm. As for Yi Xian, he had only opened 4 earth veins. It was unknown whether he could break through the array formation and enter the deep-sea underground palace. He re-entered the entrance of the underwater palace. As expected, with his current cultivation level, he was unable to enter the underwater palace. He was blocked by the formation. Yi Xian did not know what realm the Essence Soul Realm expert who built the deep-sea underground palace was in. Had he opened 1 earth vein, 72 earth veins, or 36 heaven veins? It seems that I can only use brute force. Yi Xian took out the 8 desolate sword and aimed it at the array formation. There were 2 ways to break the array. The first was to destroy the entire array, and the second was to break a hole. Yi Xian did not need to completely destroy the array. He only needed to break a hole to enter. After breaking a hole, he naturally could not use an AoE skill like the Golden Platform Exterminating Magic Palm. He needed to use a more focused martial art like the Silver Dragon Thrust. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Thrust. Hidden Dragon Sword Art. Hidden Dragon Thrust. Yi Xian kept using the Hidden Dragon Thrust, which was at 90% mastery, to attack the same point of the array formation. The array formation was constantly shaking from the attacks, producing loud rumbling sounds. It had to be said that the defensive strength of this array formation was very high. Yi Xian attacked it more than 10 times, but he was still unable to break through it. It seemed that it would not be easy to return to the Heavenly Water continent. With his current realm, the Heavenly Water continent and the Blood Rock continent were not far away. However, this was the only way back. After all, above the deep-sea underground palace was the chaotic astral ocean. Even spirit realm experts could die there. If he, who was only at the spirit realm, dared to go there, he would definitely die without a complete corpse. Yi Xian kept using the Hidden Dragon Thrust. Although he had the Sacred Tree of Life to recover his chi, it was still a high-rank heaven-level martial art. Using it continuously was not enough. Very soon, his true chi was completely depleted. However, the formation was also recovering at the same time as he was recovering his true chi. I can't just use all my chi. It seems that I need to spend some time to continuously attack and prevent the array from recovering. Yi Xian thought in his heart. In short, he needed to continuously attack. Yi Xian walked forward. The bloodline of the Sacred Tree of Life allowed his chi to recover at an astonishing speed. Not only that, but his physical strength would also quickly recover. Therefore this time, he also needed to use normal attacks to break the array formation. Hidden Dragon Thrust. Normal attacks. Hidden Dragon Thrust. Normal attacks. Yi Xian maintained this rhythm, allowing his chi to recover and consume the same amount. This time, he attacked the array formation for an entire day. After that, the formation was finally broken through, and he entered it. I'm finally in. Yi Xian was exhausted. If it wasn't for the support of the bloodline of the Sacred Tree of Life, he definitely wouldn't have been able to hold on. However, it was already good that he was able to enter. He was afraid that he couldn't break the array formation. If that was the case, he could only come back after his realm increased. He still had the map of the deep-sea underground palace. With this map, he quickly returned to the Dragon Palace. Human? Yi Xian looked at the two guards on the walls of the Dragon Palace in surprise. The Dragon Palace was the territory of the Sea Dragon clan. He passed by it when he went to the Bloodrock continent and something happened. However, a human appeared here. This was a bit inconceivable. Could it be the Heavenly Water Continent's spiritual force realm? Yi Xian thought in his heart, then walked over. Who are you? The two warriors on the Dragon Palace also saw Yi Xian, and one of them immediately asked, Who are you? Yi Xian frowned and asked, What nonsense are you talking about? You came from the Bloodrock continent, right? Hurry up and go back. The warrior said impatiently. This sentence made Yi Xian frown immediately. Just now, he guessed that these two were sent by the Great Elder. However, based on the quality of these two people, he was sure that these two were definitely not from the first main city. I'm originally from the Heavenly Water Continent. I want to go back now. Hurry up and get out of my way or else. Yi Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent. Originally from the Heavenly Water Island? The warrior muttered. After exchanging glances with the other warrior, he coldly snorted and said, What kind of joke is this? You, a piece of trash who hasn't even reached the spiritual force realm, want to go to the Bloodrock continent? Chapter 472. Skywater Island Incident. However, the man's words made Yi Xian furrow his brows. Skywater Island? Yi Xian opened his eyes wide. Hearing this, Yi Xian immediately understood that these two men were not from the Skywater continent. If not, why would they call the Skywater Island Skywater Island? It looked like something had happened in the Skywater continent when he went to the Bloodrock continent. Swoosh! In an instant, he dashed forward, broke through the Dragon Palace's formation, and arrived in front of these two men. When these two men finally reacted, they were completely stunned. A young Heavenly Core warrior had teleported in front of them, as if he had teleported. How was this possible? Where did you come from? Answer me. If you speak any nonsense, I'll kill you immediately. Yi Xian stood in front of these two men with the 8 desolate sword in his hand. You! The other man didn't seem to understand what was going on. Before he could finish his sentence, he felt a cold sensation on his neck, and his head fell to the ground. Blood splattered everywhere. The remaining man widened his eyes. He didn't dare speak any nonsense, so he quickly said, We're from the Skywolf Island, as expected. Yi Xian's guess was correct. These two men were not from the Skywater continent. Where is the Skywolf Island? Why are you here? Yi Xian asked again. The Skywolf Island is near the Skywater Island. We were ordered by Lord Tang Tian to guard this place, the man said without hesitation. What? Tang Tian? Yi Xian's body trembled. He was quite familiar with this name. The crown prince of the Tang dynasty was called Tang Tian, and he entered the Soaring Heaven Mansion at the same time as Yi Xian. After that, both sides had some conflicts, and Tang Tian went missing. Then what does Tang Tian look like? Yi Xian asked again. After that, the man described Tang Tian's appearance. Indeed, this was the same Tang Tian that Yi Xian knew. What is going on? Yi Xian did not understand the situation, so he immediately asked the man a few more questions. He had to get to the bottom of this matter. The man did not dare to hide anything. After all, Yi Xian had killed him like a chicken. If he was discovered, his head would probably roll to the ground in the next moment. However, he couldn't escape death in the end. After the man finished telling the story, he was killed by Yi Xian's sword. As for Yi Xian, he also understood what had happened during this period of time. That Heavenly Wolf Island was actually also a territory of the Bloodrock continent. Although it was also a middle-grade territory, it was much stronger than the Ghost Tomb territory. According to this man, they were originally from a clan on Heavenly Wolf Island. After traveling for a few months on the sea, they arrived at Heavenly Water Island by chance. After that, they met Tang Tian and found out about the Skywater Island. Skywater Island was not a territory of the Bloodstone continent, so the experts of this fleet were very excited. If they reported this matter, they would be able to obtain a lot of rewards. After all, this was a newly discovered island. Although it was very desolate and barren, it was still a breakthrough. After that, this fleet directly appointed Tang Tian as the acting lord, and they went back to report, and at the same time sent some people over. A new island, even if it was like an emperor in the eyes of these people, still had to be investigated. Who knows, there might be some ruins of some strong martial artists. As for other matters, the man did not know. This man had the strength of over 100 dragons, and was very close to the spirit realm. They were just ordinary crew members in the fleet. Tang Tian received a reward and broke through to the spirit realm. This is nothing. What's more important is that he actually has a spirit realm bodyguard. Yi Xian frowned as he thought. This spirit realm expert was naturally a member of that fleet. However, he was not from the heavenly water continent and did not understand the heavenly water continent, so Tang Tian was the temporary acting lord. At this moment, Yi Xian was most worried about his family and friends. Tang Tian was very similar to him in one aspect, and that was that he would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Previously in the Soaring Heaven Mansion, Yi Xian went against him in every aspect. With Tang Tian's personality, how could he not take revenge? Yi Xian estimated that the Soaring Heaven Mansion would definitely not be safe and sound. What he was most worried about was Song Sui Jing and the rest. At this moment, he quickly rushed to the entrance of the deep-sea underground palace, then spent close to 2 days to break the array and rush out of the Death Island. The situation was urgent, so he rushed back to the Soaring Heaven Mansion. However, the thing he was most afraid of happened. The Soaring Heaven Mansion was in a mess, and there was not a single person. Tang Tian, if I don't kill you, I will change my surname to yours. Yi Xian's eyes were like a volcano erupting. His figure flashed, and he quickly walked around the Soaring Heaven Mansion. As expected, there was not a single person. Even the great elder Lin Wanyue's bamboo forest was empty. Then, he quickly rushed back to the profound Sun Empire to take a look. It was still empty. Zhao Chongguang and the rest were gone. The few big families in the Lianyun city were also gone. In any case, everyone related to Yi Xian was gone. Let's go take a look at the Great Song Dynasty. Yi Xian suddenly thought of a place and rushed over. As expected, the Great Song Dynasty changed its name to the Great Tang Dynasty. There was only one of the 4 great dynasties left, and before Tang Tian appeared, the upper echelons of the Great Song Dynasty had disappeared. The Great Elder must have used the Universal Mirror to know about this beforehand, so she moved everyone away. Yi Xian thought to himself. Tang Tian had indeed become the overlord, but Lin Wanyue was faster, and had already arranged everything. Yi Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Wanyue had the Universal Mirror. If it was as he thought, Lin Wanyue should have known about his return. The Great Elder should be hiding somewhere. I'll just go to a random place and wait for her to find me. Yi Xian casually hid in the valley of a small empire in the southern region. There were hundreds of empires in the heavenly water continent, and Tang Tian was staying in the #1 main city, so she would definitely not notice. As expected, on the second day after Yi Xian returned to the heavenly water continent, Lin Wanyue came looking for him. Great Elder, are you all okay? After seeing Lin Wanyue, Yi Xian hurriedly asked. At this moment, he knew that Lin Wanyue was in the first level of Aura Qi. This strength was enough to be an overlord in the Blood Cliff continent. Tang Tian's bodyguard was in the Essence Soul realm, and she was not his match. You should know that they are all fine. I took them away first. Lin Wanyue nodded, but after she finished speaking, she paused and said, however, after Tang Tian became the overlord, he was extremely cruel. He captured all the officials of the 3 great dynasties and beheaded them in public. All of them. Yi Xian was shocked. Tang Tian actually captured all those innocent people. He really deserved to die. Chapter 473. Heavenly Wolf Island's Tang family, Divine Core Realm? Why are they capturing a Divine Core warrior? Yi Xian was confused. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's not something good. Lin Wanyue shook her head. I'll kill that Tang Tian first. Yi Xian was furious. He was about to rush to the central province and kill Tang Tian, but he was stopped by Lin Wanyue. Don't be impulsive, there is still a soul essence warrior there. Lin Wanyue reminded him. I've asked around, that man has only opened 7 earth veins. I can handle it. Yi Xian nodded his head solemnly. You can handle it? Lin Wanyue was shocked. It had only been half a year since Yi Xian went to the Bloodrock continent, and he had broken through from the Strength realm to the Soul Essence realm. Wasn't this a bit too fast? Sure enough, your talent is better than your father's. But, you still have to be careful, that fleet might arrive soon. Lin Wanyue said with a frown. If the fleet returned to the Heavenly Wolf Island, they would definitely send some mighty warriors. Perhaps, they would be stronger than the Soul Essence warrior in the Heavenly Water Island. Don't worry, I'll be careful, Yi Xian said. After that, Lin Wanyue told Yi Xian where they were hiding. Then she handed the all-knowing mirror to Yi Xian. After leaving behind some precious heavenly and earthly treasures, Yi Xian directly flew towards the central continent. The Heavenly Water Island was like an island in the eyes of these mighty warriors. In less than 2 minutes, he arrived above the #1 main city in the central province. Apart from the Soul Essence warrior, there were also many Spirit and Strength Realm warriors in the fleet. Right now, they were all wandering around, trying to find out if there were any secrets hidden in the Heavenly Water Island. Yi Xian stood high up in the sky, looking down at the #1 main city. The stronger one was, the stronger one's senses would be. Right now, he could sense a few Spirit Realm warriors. With the all-knowing mirror in his hand, he knew everything that was happening in the Heavenly Water Island. However, the Soul Essence warrior wasn't in the #1 main city. But Tang Tian was here. But before that, Yi Xian decided to kill those Spirit Realm trash first. There were a total of 20 Spirit Realm cultivators from the Heavenly Wolf Island's Tang family, but there were only 5 of them in the first main city. Moreover, all of them were immersed in women. Yi Xian directly charged in and chopped off his head without waiting for the other party to react. After that, Yi Xian killed all of Tang Tian's lackeys and left. Now it was Tang Tian's turn. Tang Tian was in the first city lord's residence, and was also immersed in a group of women. When Yi Xian appeared behind him, he did not even notice him. Ah! Suddenly, a beautiful woman cried out in alarm. Tang Tian, who was leaning on another girl's thigh, heard the scream and frowned. He turned his head and his face turned pale. Yi Xian. When Tang Tian saw Yi Xian's face, his eyes immediately shot out 2 rays of light. Yi Xian was the person he wanted to kill the most. Tang Tian, I really didn't expect this. If I had known, I would have cut you into 8 pieces. Yi Xian said regretfully. Although most of the people were fine, Lin Wanyue did not expect Tang Tian to vent his anger on the innocent officials of the great Tang dynasty. Tang Tian looked on with a gloomy face. Yi Xian was able to silently appear behind him, a Spirit Realm martial artist. His strength was definitely stronger. However, he could not help but laugh. Ha ha ha, so it's you. Are you here to die? Although he knew that he could not defeat Yi Xian, there was a Spirit Realm expert in the first city lord's residence, so Tang Tian had some confidence. Killing you in one go is too easy for you. You will pay for your mistakes with your pain. Yi Xian disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, Tang Tian's 4 limbs were chopped off. The speed of the former's attack was faster than Tang Tian's reaction. What? Tang Tian widened his eyes in disbelief. He was a level 9 Imperial Qi expert, but his 4 limbs were chopped off in an instant. Don't worry, I won't let you die so easily. Yi Xian sprinkled some medicinal powder on Tang Tian's wounds. In an instant, Tang Tian's wounds began to heal. Tang Tian was in so much pain that his head was about to explode. Now that his wounds were healing, he wanted to kill himself. Now that his wounds had healed, how was he going to reattach his broken limbs? In the next moment, he felt a pain in his scalp. When he turned his head, he realized that he was being held in the hands of a white skeleton warrior. Now, Tang Tian had completely become a cripple. Watch him. If he wants to commit suicide, knock him out. Yi Xian ordered the white skeleton warrior puppet with level 10 aura energy in his heart. After that, he left again. This time, his target was the Soul Essence Realm expert. The Spirit Realm expert from the Tang family of the Celestial Wolf Island was an old man. He had already opened 7 earth veins and was very strong. Yi Xian landed in his courtyard. Although Yi Xian deliberately suppressed himself, it was hard for the other party not to notice at such a close distance. Who is it? An old voice drifted out from the house. Shortly after, the door was opened and an old man walked out from inside. The person who will kill you. Yi Xian held the 8 desolate sword and answered coldly. Oh! The old man squinted his eyes. He could also feel that Yi Xian was in the spirit realm. He glanced at the white skeleton warrior puppet and Tang Tian, who was in its hands. He had roughly investigated the celestial water island. There was only one spirit realm expert, and it was impossible for there to be a spirit realm expert. Therefore, he guessed that Yi Xian was like him, an outsider. The celestial water island was first discovered by my Tang family. My Tang family has already reported this matter. You want to take the credit? The old man said. I am from the celestial water island. You said that the celestial water island was first discovered by your Tang family? Yi Xian asked. You're from the celestial water island? The old man was surprised. He couldn't even find a spirit realm expert, so why would there be a spirit realm expert? Before the old man could say anything, Yi Xian asked again, why did you capture those divine core warriors? Hee, it's just an experiment. The old man laughed. He wasn't surprised that Yi Xian knew about this matter. After all, Tang Tian had been captured by Yi Xian. Experiment? Yi Xian furrowed his brows. Sure enough, they were not good people. The Celestial Wolf Island's Tang family was using these people as lab rats. I don't think you're going to tell me. If that's the case, let's do it. Yi Xian immediately flew up into the air. He was in the #1 main city, and if he fought here, it might affect many people. Therefore he had to go outside the city. Humph! The old man coldly harumphed. Without saying anything, he followed behind Yi Xian. Unlike those at the spirit realm, a spirit realm warrior's cultivation level could not be seen through with a single glance. Therefore, the old man dared not let his guard down. Chapter 474. Disguise, what's your name? After landing, the old man couldn't help but ask. Yilangchen. Yi Xian casually replied. All right. Yilangchen. No matter where you're from, since you dare to appear in front of me today, your fate is already decided. Make your move. Let me see what you're capable of. The old man also took out a long sword. Yi Xian held the 8 desolate sword and watched coldly. At this moment, he was also performing a series of actions in his heart. Ding. Host has learned the Prime Clarity Sword Art. Current proficiency is 10%. Ding. Host has learned the Prime Clarity Demonic Stomping Steps. Current proficiency is 10%. Although he had already raised the Hidden Dragon Sword Art to 90% proficiency, the Hidden Dragon Sword Art was created by the Poison King sect. The Prime Clarity Sword Art was the absolute art of the Prime Clarity Palace. Although these two martial arts were both high-tier heaven-tier martial arts, the Prime Clarity Sword Art was much stronger than the Hidden Dragon Sword Art. This time, he happened to meet an opponent who was around the same realm. It was very suitable for him to practice his martial arts. You're not going to make a move? Seeing that Yi Xian was in a daze, the old man couldn't help but ask. However, just as he spoke, Yi Xian used the Prime Clarity Demonic Stomping Steps that he just learned and charged over. Humph! The old man snorted and faced him head-on. Both of them were in the Essence Soul realm and could use the surrounding Yuan Qi to fight. However, the Yuan Qi in the Sky Water Island was much less than in the Bloodcliff continent, so their battle wasn't very intense. Ding! The Prime Clarity Sword Art's proficiency has increased. Current proficiency is 20%. Ding! The Prime Clarity Demonic Stomping Steps proficiency has increased. Current proficiency is 20%. The two martial arts were improving rapidly. In just a few rounds, the Prime Clarity Sword Art's proficiency had increased to 60%. The old man was going easy at the beginning to test Yi Xian's realm. Now, as the Prime Clarity Sword Art's proficiency increased, Yi Xian's attacks became more and more ferocious. He had no choice but to show his strength. However, in the next moment, the old man found a place. He seemed to have seen the martial arts that Yi Xian was using somewhere before. He was thinking as he defended. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. Xianxia Palace. You are a disciple of Xianxia Palace? The old man exclaimed. The Xianxia Palace was a power in the Heavenly Absolute Territory. It had branches in many territories, including the Heavenly Wolf Island. That was why he found it familiar. You know him? Yi Xian was a little surprised. These two martial arts were obtained from the disciples of Xianxia Palace in the Ghost Tomb territory. Xianxia Palace was in the Heaven Absolute Territory, which was quite a distance away from the Heavenly Wolf Island. How could this old man know them? As he attacked, he replied, So what if I am? Unexpectedly, the old man continued to shout, Stop! Our Tang clan is also working for Xianxia Palace. What? Upon hearing this, Yi Xian was shocked again. The Tang family was on the Heavenly Wolf Island, so how could they have any relationship with the Heavenly Absolute Territory's Xianxia Palace? If that was really the case, then there was only one explanation. Xianxia Palace had a branch on Heavenly Wolf Island. Even so, Yi Xian did not stop and continued to attack. "Stop! What are you trying to do?" The old man shouted once again. Although the Tang clan was strong, they were not strong enough to fight Xianxia Palace. Right at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly stopped attacking and asked, "Then why did you capture those people?" "Of course we're sending them to Xianxia Palace." The old man furrowed his brows and asked, "Which branch are you from?" "I'm from the Heavenly Absolute Territory." Yi Xian answered. "Impossible. How did you pass through the deep-sea underground palace?" The old man was shocked. He had walked around the entire Heavenly Water Island, so of course he had found the deep-sea underground palace. He had tried to break through the formation, but he couldn't. That was why he had sent 2 men to guard it. "You can't, but that doesn't mean I can't. Why did you capture those people?" Yi Xian asked again. "I told you, we're sending them to the Supreme Pure Palace. The Supreme Pure Palace branch on the Heavenly Wolf Island needs Divine Core death row prisoners every month, and we just happened to discover this Heavenly Water Island, so..." The old man explained. Although he didn't continue, Yi Xian understood what he was trying to say. "Prisoners on death row? You're sending those innocent people as prisoners on death row? Also, why does that branch need so many prisoners on death row?" Yi Xian asked with a puzzled expression. "I don't know either." The old man shook his head. Right at this moment, Yi Xian suddenly attacked again. The old man cried out in surprise. "What are you doing?" The Tang family was working for Xianxia Palace, and Yi Xian was a disciple of Xianxia Palace. There shouldn't be any conflicts between them. "You're lying. Xianxia Palace has always been a righteous sect. Why would we disregard human lives? Besides, you said you wanted them to test it out. How could you not know?" Yi Xian shouted out loudly. The old man immediately realized that he had let the cat out of the bag when they were in the first main city. But, what surprised him even more was that Yi Xian's attacks suddenly became fiercer. Since the beginning, Yi Xian had been trying to improve his proficiency in martial arts. Although there were 3 earth veins between him and the old man, this wasn't the Bloodstone continent, and he couldn't use much natural yuan energy here. Right now, he was pressuring the old man, forcing him to tell him the truth. "Fine, I'll tell you. While backing away, the old man shouted out, "There is a huge group of devils sealed under Xianxia Palace, and they are showing signs of breaking through the seal. That's why Xianxia Palace needs a large number of prisoners on death row, and these devils can possess human bodies so that they can break through the seal. Once they break through the seal, they will be killed by Xianxia Palace disciples." After listening to the old man, Yi Xian finally understood what was going on. It turned out that Xianxia Palace needed a large number of vessels to bring these devils out and kill them, then use this method to continue sealing these devils. It looked like all the captured Divine Core prisoners were going to be used as vessels, and then be killed by Xianxia Palace disciples. Xianxia Palace's method was still acceptable, but this Tang family deserved to die. If the Tang family were capturing people from Heavenly Wolf Island, he wouldn't care. But why did they come to Heavenly Water Island to capture people? How could he allow this? If there weren't enough Divine Core prisoners, they might capture true Profound Warriors, true Origin Warriors, and true Spirit Warriors. Although they might be killed by these devils, it was still better than nothing. Because of this Tang family, Tang Tian's tyrannical rule had led to the deaths of all officials from the Great Song, Great Zhou, and Great Yan dynasties. This revenge had to be avenged. Seeing that Yi Xian was still attacking, the old man shouted out once again, "We're just following orders. Buddy, if you keep attacking, don't blame me for being merciless." Although Xianxia Palace was a powerful force, everyone had a temper, and the old man couldn't hold it in any longer. "Then why don't you show me how merciless you are?" Yi Xian furiously shouted out, and his aura instantly skyrocketed. Beast King Rampage. On Heavenly Water Island, where natural yuan energy was scarce, a body's physique was more effective. With a few thousand dragon strength and a 30% increase in movement speed, Yi Xian's speed had greatly surpassed the old man's. Chapter 475. Looking for me? So fast. After witnessing Yi Xian's speed, the old man was stunned. He knew that he could no longer hold back and counterattacked with all his might. But what he didn't know was that Yi Xian was using him as a sparring partner. Yi Xian's martial arts were improving rapidly. Ding! The Prime Clarity Sword Arts proficiency has increased. Current proficiency is at 80%. Ding! The Prime Clarity Sword Arts proficiency has increased. Current proficiency is at 90%. With the bloodline of a sword saint, the proficiency of the sword art increased quickly. In less than a minute, the Prime Clarity Sword Art had reached 90% proficiency, while the old man's sword art was only at 60% proficiency. Yi Xian felt that it was about time and finally began to deal the killing blow. Prime Clarity Demonic Slaying Slash. Yi Xian slashed out with his sword, sending the old man flying. Fortunately, the old man blocked the attack with his sword, or else he would have been in danger. But in the next moment, the old man's face froze. 100 Ghosts Parade. The moment the old man was sent flying, Yi Xian released a large number of wraiths. These wraiths were all at level 9 and 10. Although they didn't have much effect on the old man, Yi Xian was only using them to hold him back. Only now did the old man realize that Yi Xian wasn't a disciple of the Prime Clarity Palace, but a member of the demonic sect who had killed a disciple of the Prime Clarity Palace. I didn't want to bully him with numbers, but there's no other choice. Yi Xian thought to himself. He had wanted to kill the old man in a one-on-one battle, but he suddenly saw an image appear on the omniscient mirror. A fleet of ships had landed on Sky Water Island. They must be from the Celestial Wolf Island. They had come at the wrong time, so Yi Xian had to kill the old man quickly. The old man was instantly surrounded by a group of wraiths, while Yi Xian mixed in with them, waiting for an opportunity. Suddenly, he found a flaw in the old man's defense and immediately slashed out with his sword. Prime Clear Demonic Slaying Slash. The martial arts of the High Purity Palace were extremely powerful against evil creatures. This High Purity Demonic Slaying Slash was also the same. In an instant, it scattered the souls of the few wraiths, and then struck the old man. Boom! This time, the old man did not have the ability to resist and was directly cut in two. After that, Yi Xian followed up with a hidden dragon thrust, completely killing the old man. It had to be said that the old man's strength was not bad. In just a second, he had killed more than half of the wraiths. However, he was still lacking compared to Yi Xian. Even if he didn't use the human wave tactic, it was only a matter of time before Yi Xian killed him. After he died, Yi Xian unceremoniously took off his interspatial ring. Ding! Host has unlocked the 5th Earth Vein. The old man should have some status in the Tang family, as his net worth was even greater than that of the disciples of the Shangqing Palace. We're running out of time. Wei Zhentian, hide this guy. Yi Xian immediately summoned Wei Zhentian. He couldn't just let Tang Tian die like this. Once he returned, he was going to use the fallen spirit sex methods to torture Tang Tian. The fleet had come ashore, and the 3 men leading the fleet were heading toward the central province. As for Yi Xian, he was going to destroy their ships and kill all the sailors before they left. After that, he would kill all 3 men one by one. Without hesitation, he started running toward the fleet while avoiding the 3 men. When the 3 men arrived at the central province, Yi Xian had already found their fleet. This time, the Tang family was going to capture some divine core warriors as well. As long as Yi Xian killed all the ships and sailors, these 3 men wouldn't be able to capture anyone and bring them back. 100 Spirit Realm Warriors? Why are they using so many men this time? Yi Xian was shocked. It looked like the Tang family was going to capture more men and bring them back to Heavenly Wolf Island. That was why Yi Xian wouldn't let them go. Kill! In the blink of an eye, he charged toward the fleet. There were 200 Spirit Realm Warriors in this fleet, and 1,000 Spirit Realm Warriors. Although it was a huge number, in the eyes of a Spirit Realm Warrior like Yi Xian, they were just a bunch of ants. In less than half a minute, all these men were turned into corpses, and all their storage rings had fallen into Yi Xian's hands. The 1,000 Spirit Realm Warriors weren't a big deal, but all these Spirit Realm Warriors' storage rings were worth a lot of money. However, it wasn't enough for Yi Xian to open up the 6th Earth Vein. After that, Yi Xian destroyed another dozen ships. After that, he took out the Myriad Mirror. The 3 Spirit Realm Warriors couldn't find Tang Tian and the old man, so they split up and started searching. For them, the Heavenly Water Continent was just like a small island, and with their senses, it wasn't a problem for them to find a Spirit Realm Warrior. The three men split up, and that was what Yi Xian wanted. Yi Xian didn't know what cultivation realm these three men were at, so it was best for him to split up and find them. At that moment, he used the myriad mirror to get closer to the nearest person. Soon, he found one of them. Not only that, he also used his identity as a Xianxia Palace warrior. This spirit realm warrior was the same as the old man, only opening up 7 earth veins. However, his cultivation realm was lower than the old man's, so he was easily killed by Yi Xian. After Yi Xian obtained his storage ring, his strength increased again, and he started searching for the second person. The second person also opened up 7 earth veins, but he also died at the hands of Yi Xian. As for the last person, he also opened up 7 earth veins, but he was also killed by Yi Xian. At the same time, Yi Xian also found out the purpose of the Tang family's fleet. His guess was right. The Tang family wanted to capture all the people in the true spirit realm and above on the continent. Fortunately, he came back early. If he came back a little later, the entire heavenly water continent would be empty. The 3 spirit realm warriors, in addition to the others, allowed Yi Xian's cultivation realm to increase again, and he opened up the 6th earth vein. After that, he captured Tang Tian and gave him to the others to torture. Great Elder Lin Wanyue was hiding at the edge of the heavenly water continent. To be precise, he was in the Sea Dragon clan's new dragon palace. However, when Yi Xian arrived at the new dragon palace, he found that everyone was there, except for 2 people. Song Suijing and Song Jejue. Great Elder. Where are Suijing and the others? Yi Xian couldn't help but ask. I forgot to tell you. Not long after they returned, they mastered that mysterious state, so they went to the Blood Cliff continent to find you. Great Elder said truthfully. What, they went to find me? Yi Xian was shocked. When they were in the deep sea underground palace, Song Suijing and Song Jejue thought that their strength couldn't keep up with Yi Xian's pace, so they returned to the heavenly water continent first. Yi Xian didn't expect that after they returned, they would master that mysterious state of cultivation, and their cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds. Yes, when they came out of seclusion, they almost broke through to the spirit realm. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to enter the deep sea underground palace, so they went to the Blood Cliff continent. Lin Wanyue nodded. Yi Xian had a headache. Although he was confident in their strength, it was still the Blood Cliff continent. There were plenty of spirit realm warriors, and spirit realm warriors everywhere. Chapter 476. Heavenly Wolf Island. Although Yi Xian wanted to immediately return to the Blood Cliff continent to find the 2 of them, he had to help the Heavenly Water continent overcome the crisis first. Grand Elder, the Tang family of Heavenly Wolf Island probably won't send anyone over for the time being. However, to prevent future troubles, I have to make a trip to Heavenly Wolf Island. Yi Xian said to the Grand Elder. Be careful. Lin Wanyue did not stop him. After all, her current realm was far from enough. Okay. Yi Xian nodded. Afterward, he bid farewell to his friends and family. After killing the remaining spirit realm experts on the Heavenly Water continent, he left the Heavenly Water Island. The Tang family of Heavenly Wolf Island came by ship. However, they had thousands of people and only one Yi Xian, so flying was more than enough. There were many nautical charts in the Tang family's interspatial rings. Yi Xian knew the location of Heavenly Wolf Island. In addition, he had a compass, so it was only a matter of time before he arrived at Heavenly Wolf Island. However, it had to be said that the sea was a dangerous place. Yi Xian actually encountered a spirit realm saint beast on the way. It was a saint beast that could destroy a fleet of ships. However, Beast King's rampage did not increase his strength by much, so he was too lazy to collect the saint beast's corpses. He was also glad that he did not add the advancement point to Beast King's rampage. Otherwise, it would have been a waste. Currently, the most suitable thing for him to advance was speed and the power of his sword skills. This time, Yi Xian flew for 3 days and 3 nights before he saw Heavenly Wolf Island. If the Heavenly Water Continent and Heavenly Wolf Island were to be compared, the Heavenly Water Continent was not even 1/10 the size of Heavenly Wolf Island. Heavenly Wolf Island was near the Blood Cliff Continent, so it could also be called Heavenly Wolf Territory. Although it was only an intermediate territory, it was much stronger than Ghost Grave Territory. Yi Xian looked at Heavenly Wolf Island in front of him and immediately increased his speed to rush over. According to the spirit realm expert he captured, the Tang family was only an ordinary faction on Heavenly Wolf Island. The Tang family was established at the edge of Heavenly Wolf Island. At this moment, he had a plan in his mind. The Tang clan was the first to discover Sky Water Island. They reported it to their superiors and were rewarded. Therefore, Yi Xian had to figure out who the higher-ups were referring to. Was it the Sky Wolf Lord or the Bloodstone Continent? However, before he could land on Heavenly Wolf Island, several figures entered his sight in the air. There was one figure in front and 3 figures behind. "Help, they are pirates!" The man who was being chased shouted. "Pirates?" Yi Xian raised an eyebrow. It seemed that the 3 people behind him were not good people. He estimated that the 3 of them had only opened 4 or 5 earth veins, so their strength was not strong. Since they were outside, they should lend a helping hand. That was why Yi Xian decided to make a move. Of course, the biggest reason was that he had his eyes on the 3 pirates' universe rings. "Brat, don't overestimate yourself." A pirate saw that Yi Xian didn't move and immediately shouted. "Overconfident? You're the ones who are overestimating yourself." Dang! Yi Xian rushed out and appeared in front of the pirates in the blink of an eye. The next moment, 3 heads flew and fell into the sea. Instant kill. Yi Xian put away the 3 universe rings and directly devoured them. Apart from the 3 interspatial rings, the other reason was that the man looked like someone from Heavenly Wolf Island. He needed a tour guide. "Thank you for saving me, little brother. I am Lei Feng," the man said gratefully. "Yi Xian." Yi Xian also reported his name, then asked, "Dare I ask, what is the name of this island?" "Little brother, you're not from Heavenly Wolf Island?" Lei Feng asked in shock. "No, I'm from the Bloodstone Continent, but I lost my nautical map at sea and have been drifting blindly for a year." Yi Xian casually made up a lie. Even with a nautical map, it was extremely easy to get lost at sea. Drifting for a year was nothing. Lei Feng did not doubt him and explained, "This is Heavenly Wolf Island, a mid-level territory." Heavenly Wolf Island, huh? Phew, I finally found traces of people. Yi Xian breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, Lei Feng glanced out of the corner of his eye and hurriedly said, "Not good, those pirates are coming. Let's go to the island quickly." Then, the 2 quickly landed on Heavenly Wolf Island. Yi Xian turned around and saw that the pirates chasing them had turned back. He asked in surprise, "They're not chasing?" "Little brother, you may not know, but Heavenly Wolf Island has a rule. Pirates can only attack at sea and are not allowed to enter the island. Now that we're on Heavenly Wolf Island, they don't dare to come in, so they retreated." Lei Feng said helplessly, "I'm from the Jianghu family. I was in charge of trading with the neighboring island, but I encountered pirates. I'm the only one who survived." "Are there many pirates around here?" Yi Xian asked again. "There are many. There are more than 10 pirate groups wandering in the sea around Heavenly Wolf Island. Little brother, you've been drifting at sea for so long, but you haven't encountered any pirates. Your luck is pretty good." Lei Feng nodded and said, "Little brother, you must be very tired after drifting at sea for so long. I'll take you into the city for a meal to repay you for saving my life." Okay. Yi Xian agreed. His purpose was to find someone to take him to understand Heavenly Wolf Island. After all, he knew nothing about it now, not even where the Tang family was. The 2 of them began to fly inland. Lei Feng had encountered pirates at sea, so he had to report back to the Jianghu family first. However, it was very inconvenient to bring Yi Xian with him, so Lei Feng brought Yi Xian to his residence first. Now Yi Xian understood that Lei Feng was not from the Jianghu family. They just happened to have the same surname. Lei Feng's parents had died at the hands of pirates, and he had a younger sister at home. The 2 siblings depended on each other. Lei Feng led Yi Xian into 100 Refinement City, then rushed to his residence first. However, when he returned to his house, he found a series of shouts coming from inside. "Sister!" Lei Feng's eyes widened in shock. He rushed in directly, only to find a man touching his sister. "It's you." Lei Feng recognized this man. "Lei Feng? Why are you back?" This man was very surprised. He heard that Lei Feng had gone out to sea, so why did he suddenly return? Lei Feng was furious. He pushed the man away and protected his sister behind him. He shouted angrily, "Zhang Bao, what are you doing?" This man was called Zhang Bao. Like Lei Feng, he was a consecrator of the Jiang family. "Damn it, I can't believe you ran into me. Zhang Bao shouted angrily and said, since that's the case, then I'll be frank. Your sister has been taken a fancy to by young Master Jiang, so I'm taking her to the Jiang family. As expected, young Master Jiang still hasn't given up. Lei Feng's face was gloomy. He had already guessed it. Since you understand, then let's go. As long as your sister becomes the young mistress of the Jiang family, you can be considered to have turned over a new leaf, Zhang Bao said. Chapter 477. Kill. Humph, young Master Jiang wants your sister. If you dare to disobey, you should know the consequences. You kept delaying because you thought young Master Jiang would forget about this matter. Today, you better go and beg for forgiveness. Otherwise, no one can save you, Zhang Bao said coldly. In that case, I will leave the Jiang family. Lei Feng grabbed Luo Feng's hand and prepared to leave without thinking. You want to leave? Zhang Bao's eyes widened as he threw a punch. Lei Feng didn't expect Zhang Bao to attack him in the city. Moreover, Zhang Bao's cultivation level was higher than his. He had already opened 6 meridians, which was 2 meridians higher than Lei Feng. Therefore, Lei Feng was sent flying by the punch. Brother! Luo Feng exclaimed. Humph, let's go. Zhang Bao rushed forward and grabbed Luo Feng's wrist, preparing to take her back to the Jiang family by force. However, at this moment, a large hand suddenly patted Zhang Bao's shoulder. Who is it? Zhang Bao turned around and found that it was a young man. He immediately threw a punch. Yi Xian easily dodged the punch and swept the Bahuang sword. Zhang Bao's arm was sent flying as blood gushed out. What? Zhang Bao was stunned. In the next moment, he was sent flying by Yi Xian's punch. Young man, you dare to touch me? Zhang Bao's eyes widened. Not only do I dare to touch you, but I also dare to touch your interspatial ring. Yi Xian took off the interspatial ring from Zhang Bao's severed arm and poured everything into the devouring space. Then, he cut the interspatial ring in half. If the interspatial ring was damaged, the items inside would disappear. No one knew where they went. Zhang Bao's eyes turned red when he saw his interspatial ring falling to the ground. He roared and charged at Yi Xian. However, he'd only opened up 6 earth veins, while Yi Xian had just opened up the 7th earth vein. Yi Xian was able to kill enemies above his cultivation level. Now that his cultivation level was higher than Zhang Bao's, the latter could only be killed in a second. When they saw Zhang Bao's head flying, Rufus Maple and Rufus Maple were stunned. Killing people in the city? Not good. There's a nighthawk in the sky. The city guards will be here soon. Let's go. Wounded, Maple pulled the Luan Xiaowan and rushed out of the city. If it wasn't for Yi Xian this time, Lei Xiaowan would definitely have been taken away, so Yi Xian could be considered the 2 brothers' savior. However, what Yi Xian did not expect was that flying was prohibited in the city, and there were also a large number of saint beasts in the air. The fact that he had killed someone would be exposed very soon. It was precisely because of this that Lu Ruffing immediately brought them out of the city. Fortunately, they were able to leave the city easily. I'm sorry, I didn't know this would happen. Yi Xian felt very guilty. Now, the siblings had to leave. Zhang Bao was arrogant and despotic. If he was allowed to leave, he would definitely return to the Jiang family to report. At that time, the Jiang family would send experts to chase after him. However, he did not expect that there would be saint beasts in the 100 refining city, so the matter was blown up by him. It's not your fault. I've already made preparations to leave the Jiang family. This time, young Master Jiang took advantage of me going out to sea to forcefully kidnap my sister. How can I continue to stay in such a family? Rufus Maple shook his head. Yi Xian sighed as he followed. Rufus Maple was already over 35 years old, while his sister was only 20 years old. Their parents were killed when Lei Xiaowan was 1 month old. Therefore, the 15-year-old Rufus Maple took on the heavy responsibility of raising his sister. The former had climbed up the ladder to achieve what he had today, and he had even worked hard for the Jiang family. Unexpectedly, the Jiang family made him bitterly disappointed. Yi Xian saw the shadow of adjudicator song in Rufus Maple, so he could not stand by and watch. Someone is chasing us. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly looked back and saw a team rushing out from the city, quickly chasing after them. Rufus Maple's face was gloomy as he said, "It's the City Lord's Tiger Cavalry team. Their strength is above 7 Earth Vein. Little brother, you take Qingwan and leave first. I'll go back with them. Brother. Lei Xiaowan immediately exclaimed when she heard this. Yi Xian understood that Rufus Maple wanted to go back and take the blame. However, Yi Xian treated this tiger cavalry team as experience. You guys continue to run. Don't worry, I don't care about these people. Yi Xian said coldly. At this moment, Rufus Maple could only sigh at Yi Xian's strength. Otherwise they could only be captured. It did not matter if he died, but the Jiang family had a good relationship with the city lord's mansion. If Lei Xiaowan was captured, she would definitely be sent to the Jiang family's young master Jiang. The tiger cavalry team rode on a type of tiger sacred beast. They were extremely fast. Although they could not catch up to Yi Xian, they could catch up to Rufus Maple, who had only opened 4 earth veins, and Lei Xiaowan, who had not even reached the soul essence realm. Just as the tiger cavalry team was about to catch up to the 3 of them, Yi Xian suddenly stopped and instantly turned around to kill them. Prime Clarity Sword Art. Yi Xian immediately used the Prime Clarity Sword Art that had been raised to 90%. His speed was even faster than before. In less than 3 seconds, he had killed the 10 tiger cavalry team and their mounts. So strong. Rufus Maple and Lei Xiaowan were stunned. The latter was even more astonished because Yi Xian was about the same age as her, but his strength was worlds apart from hers. At this moment, Yi Xian had already collected the 10 people's universe rings and their corpses. Ding! The host has opened the 8th earth vein. After hearing the notification, Yi Xian could not help but grin. Then, he ran to Rufus Maple and asked, "What are the realms of the city lord and the patriarch of the Jiang family?" Rufus Maple was stunned and said, "The patriarch of the Jiang family has already opened 12 earth veins, and the city lord of the 100 refinement city has already opened 14. 12, 14? Yi Xian's eyes lit up. If that was the case, why would he run? However, he still escorted Rufus Maple and Lei Xiaowan to a safe mountain range first. Then, he put on a small face mask, carried the head of the tiger cavalry team's captain, and returned to the entrance of the 100 refinement city. At this moment, the 100 refinement city was already in an uproar. When Yi Xian arrived at the city gate, the generals guarding the city also looked at him with fear. To be able to kill a tiger cavalry team, he had to open at least 8 earth veins. Don't block me, or don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Xian entered the city so brazenly. The experts of the 100 refinement city looked at each other and finally rushed forward bravely. Guarding the 100 refinement city was their duty. They could not let such a demon enter the city. Yi Xian did not want to kill them all. He only took off all their universe rings and quickly escaped into the city. Chapter 478. Tang family. After inquiring about the location of the Jiang family, Yi Xian quickly rushed over. The reason why he saved the siblings was actually a little selfish. He wanted to find an excuse for himself to kill his way to the Jiang family. There were 2 major forces in the 100 refinement city. One was the city lord's mansion, and the other was the Jiang family. Under normal circumstances, these 2 families would fight to the death because of benefits. However, the relationship between the 2 families was very harmonious. This was because the Jiang family and the city lord's mansion were like the Yi family and the Lin family in Lianyun City. The ancestors of the 2 families were from the same family. Therefore, Yi Xian understood that if he caused trouble in the Jiang family, the city lord's mansion would definitely not stand by idly. At this moment, Yi Xian had already arrived in front of the Jiang family's gate. "Who are you?" a guard of the Jiang family asked in surprise. Unexpectedly, Yi Xian did not say a word and directly charged over. In the blink of an eye, the arms of the 2 guards were chopped off, and their interspatial rings were gone. At the same time, Yi Xian's figure disappeared as well. Yi Xian had already opened 8 earth veins and could sense the location of those soul essence realm experts. He first found trouble with those weaker soul essence realm experts. By the time the upper echelons of the Jiang family reacted, Yi Xian had already opened his 9th bloodline. "How dare you behave atrociously in my Jiang family?" Dang! A shout came from the sky. Yi Xian turned his head and saw an old man flying over. With the relationship between the Jiang family and the city lord's mansion, the Jiang family could naturally fly in the 100 refinement city. The patriarch of the Jiang family. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. The reason why young Master Jiang was so arrogant and unreasonable was because he was spoiled by the patriarch of the Jiang family. Therefore, This old fellow was on Yi Xian's must-kill list. You dare to find trouble with me with just 12 earth veins? Dang! Yi Xian's killing intent was revealed. In just 3 rounds, he chopped off the head of the Jiang family's patriarch. As the head of the Jiang clan's patriarch was extremely wealthy. He directly allowed Yi Xian to open the 10th earth vein. After that, Yi Xian ran around the Jiang family and took away the universe rings of the remaining soul essence realm cultivators in the Jiang family. If there was anyone he didn't like, he would directly kill them. When Yi Xian left the Jiang clan, he had only opened 10 earth veins, but he was not far from opening the 11th. At the same time, when he entered the Jiang family, he only killed one person who hadn't reached the soul essence realm, which was young Master Jiang. It's your turn now. Yi Xian looked in one direction and smiled. In this world the strong were respected. Killing people to steal treasures could be seen everywhere. Yi Xian had robbed the Jiang family but had not killed many people, which was not bad. Very quickly, Yi Xian arrived in the air above the city lord's mansion. How dare you fly in the 100 Refinement City? Before Yi Xian stopped, a passing city lord mansion worshipper shouted. However, before he could finish his sentence, he felt a pain in his shoulder. He lowered his head and saw that his entire arm was gone. At this moment, Yi Xian had already charged into the city lord mansion. In less than 3 minutes, he had opened the 11th earth vein. The 100 Refinement City Lord only had 14 earth veins. To him, it was not much of a threat. The City Lord mansion was very efficient, much faster than the Jiang clan. Not long after Yi Xian opened the 11th earth vein, the 100 Refinement City Lord charged out. Bastard, die! The 100 Refinement City Lord charged out of nowhere and slashed down at Yi Xian with his sword. Swish! Yi Xian, who had just swallowed an universe ring, nimbly dodged the slash and instantly rushed over. So fast! The 100 Refinement City Lord's heart trembled. In the next moment, his arm disappeared. Ding! The host has opened the 12th earth vein. A notification sounded. Originally, Yi Xian did not want to kill anyone, but the 100 Refinement City Lord allowed the Jiang clan to do whatever they wanted. Moreover, if the 100 Refinement City Lord was still alive, he would definitely arrest Yi Xian, so he had to die. Die! Yi Xian slashed horizontally, and the 100 Refinement City Lord's head was thrown up. However, just as Yi Xian killed the 100 Refinement City Lord, another angry roar sounded. Bastard, you actually killed him? Yi Xian turned his head to look and discovered an old man that was charging towards him. This aura gave Yi Xian the feeling that he was much stronger than the 100 Refinement City Lord. What's going on? Could it be the 100 Refinement City Lord's father? But Lei Feng said that the 100 Refinement City Lord's father died long ago. Yi Xian's eyes widened. It seemed that Lei Feng's information was wrong, or perhaps some expert had come to the 100 Refinement City as a guest. Yi Xian estimated that this old man had opened at least 16 earth veins. However, after he exchanged blows with the old man, he realized that he was very wrong. The amount of heaven and earth essence energy that this old man could use was very terrifying, much more than the 100 Refinement City Lord. It was likely that the other party had already opened 17 or even 18 earth veins. Where did he come from? Yi Xian's face darkened. From the beginning until now, he had already exchanged 10 blows with this old man. In these 10 rounds, he was at a disadvantage. He could not be defeated. This made Yi Xian want to retreat. Retreat first. Yi Xian turned around and ran. Good boy. You actually dare to kill a disciple of the Supreme Purity Palace. I, Tang Pangyun, will definitely capture you and hand you over to the Supreme Purity Palace. The old man shouted loudly. He was different from Tang Tian's bodyguard from before. He immediately guessed that Yi Xian had killed a disciple of the Supreme Purity Palace and then cultivated the martial arts of the Supreme Purity Palace. However, when Yi Xian heard his words, his eyes lit up. Tang. His purpose in coming to Celestial Wolf Island this time was to find the Tang family, and this old man's surname was Tang, so he might be from that Tang family. However, it was better to escape first. What fast speed! You actually even learned the Supreme Purity demonic trampling steps. The old man saw through the movement technique Yi Xian used with a glance. He did not expect that such a thing would actually happen in 100 Refinement City. He originally came to 100 Refinement City to discuss some matters with the 100 Refinement City Lord. But now that the 100 Refinement City Lord was killed, what was there to discuss? However, if he could catch a person disguised as a disciple of the Supreme Purity Palace, it would be a great contribution. However, whether he could catch Yi Xian was still a problem. Yi Xian retreated as he fought, and soon, he flashed out of 100 Refinement City. As for the old man, he followed behind Yi Xian relentlessly. The two of them gradually left 100 Refinement City, one fleeing and one chasing. Damn it, this kid's speed is too fast, and his true chi seems to be inexhaustible. I might not be able to catch up to him. The old man was very helpless in his heart. After deliberating for a moment, he turned around. He wanted to go back and report the matter. Supreme Purity Palace was also an overlord force on Celestial Wolf Island. Someone actually used the flag of Supreme Purity Palace to slaughter the City Lord's mansion of 100 Refinement City. This was not a small crime. Not chasing anymore? Yi Xian turned his head and saw that the old man had already turned around and left. Immediately, he chased after him again. Chapter 479. Chapter 479. Chapter 479. Join hands. He actually followed me. Could it be that this brat wants to kill me? The old man reminded himself. He had to be careful. It was better to be safe than sorry. However, it didn't take long for someone to rush over. Yi Xian's figure trembled as he immediately dodged. Brother, don't be afraid. I'm just here to discuss something with you. The man with the broadsword said with a smile. Discuss? Yi Xian was somewhat shocked. He reckoned that this man was probably even stronger than the 100 Refining City Lord. What is it? Yi Xian asked curiously. He. The man grinned and said, I saw you fight with Tang Pangyun just now. Your strength is not bad. Why don't we join forces and kill him together? Yi Xian was slightly surprised. This person was actually here to join forces with him. However, he was still suspicious. Do you know who he is? That's right. I've been following him all the way. He's from the Tang family in the City Master's mansion of Jianghu City. As long as you cooperate with me, I don't want anything in his interspatial ring. I only want a piece of paper. The man nodded. A map. Yi Xian frowned. What kind of map is that? Little brother, don't ask so many questions. I'm sincerely here to cooperate with you. As long as you agree, I only want that map after everything is done. The man didn't reveal the secret. Sorry, I refuse, Yi Xian replied. This man wanted to work with him, but he only wanted a map. Obviously, that map was more important than the entire universe ring. It might be a treasure map or something like that. Little brother, if he returns to Golden Crow City, there will be no other way. The man reminded. Then do it yourself. When the man heard this, he hesitated for a moment before finally compromising. All right, I'll tell you. That map is the Tang family's new shipping route. As long as I have it, I can guard that place. Now Yi Xian finally understood what the map was. All right, deal. Yi Xian immediately agreed. It was just a map, which was of little use to him. He would rather have the interspatial ring. However, he was still on guard in his heart. After all, this man's background was unknown, so he had to be careful in case the other party launched a sneak attack. Good, straightforward, let's go. After the man finished speaking, he took the lead and rushed toward the old man. Yi Xian followed closely behind. Previously, he could not do anything to the old man, but now that the old man had consumed a lot of innate chi and he had one more helper, if nothing unexpected happened, the old man would definitely fall. The two quickly approached each other. The old man seemed to have sensed something, and when he turned around, his expression stiffened. Damn it, it's the people from the Black Tiger Mountain. They must have come for the transport map. The old man instantly reacted. His whereabouts this time had been concealed, but now that his whereabouts had been exposed, it could only mean one thing. There was a spy in the Tang family. However, this was a topic for another time. Right now, he had to deal with Yi Xian and Yi Xian. He turned around, and the 18 earth veins instantly expanded. They began to communicate with the chi of heaven and earth, and directly attacked Yi Xian and Yi Xian. Yi Xian was not afraid of the old man before, and now that it was 2 against 1, his confidence was bursting. After easily dodging the sword chi, he and the other man approached the old man. Prime Clarity Sword Technique. Yi Xian directly used his special skill. Prime Clarity Sword Technique? The man was slightly surprised. Wasn't the Tang family a subordinate of the Prime Clarity Palace? Why were they fighting with their own family members? In the next moment, he realized that Yi Xian must have cultivated the martial arts of the Prime Clarity Palace. The two men charged to the old man's left and right. In an instant, the old man felt an enormous pressure. However, he was still a high-ranking member of the Tang family. How could he be killed so easily? However, after a while, he cursed in his heart. He had forgotten that he was not in peak condition when he fought. If his innate chi was used up, he would be dead for sure. Go! The old man did not dare to fight anymore. He hurriedly rushed toward the Golden Crow City at full speed. You still want to leave now? Yi Xian's eyes widened, and his speed suddenly skyrocketed. His Prime Clarity demonic stomping steps had been cultivated to 80%, which was 20% higher than the old man's identity martial arts. Rip! Suddenly, a crisp sound rang out. The old man's thigh was grazed by Yi Xian's sword qi, and a large piece of flesh was cut off. Blood flowed out, and his speed immediately decreased. He was already no match for Yi Xian and Yi Xian. Now that he was injured, he did not have long to live. No, the new route of the family's transportation must not be leaked. The old man's face darkened. He took out a map from his interspatial ring, and then channeled his innate qi, preparing to shatter it into pieces. Oh no! The man was shocked and attacked with all his might. However, he was still one step too slow. By the time his sword qi cut through the old man's arm, the map had already been shattered into pieces. Rip! The old man's arm flew up. A figure quickly rushed over and caught the arm, then took off the interspatial ring. Ding! The host has opened the 13th ley vein. Ding! The host has opened the 14th ley vein. The two notifications rang out. Yi Xian's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The items in the old man's interspatial ring were extremely valuable. It had to be said that the old man was too confident in himself. He actually carried the items with him. Or perhaps, this was the only thing he carried when he went out. The Tang family was indeed rich. Die! After the breakthrough, Yi Xian's strength soared. He swung the Bahuang sword in his hand lightly, and the old man's head flew off. Die! This time, it was all thanks to this man. Otherwise, Yi Xian would not have been able to do anything to the old man. The man also rushed over. Looking at the map that had been reduced to dust, he sighed helplessly. You can't blame me for this. Yi Xian shrugged. Sigh, what a pity. The man shook his head and said, In that case, I'll take my leave. After saying that, he turned around and left. However, he had only taken 2 steps when he suddenly turned around and slashed at Yi Xian with his saber. I knew you were up to no good. Yi Xian had been on guard. When he saw the man suddenly attack, he immediately stepped back with the Shangqing's demonic stomping steps and dodged the saber. Then, he stomped his feet and rushed toward the man like a flash of light. Rip! The Bahuang sword accurately pierced the man's heart. Die! In the wild, one could not let their guard down. Even brothers could kill each other for some heaven and earth treasure. Yi Xian kicked the man's body again and sent it flying. Then, he put away the man's interspatial ring and weapon. So, you're a bandit. Yi Xian swallowed everything in the interspatial ring, then began to check the interspatial ring. Chapter 480. Sneaking into the Tang family, looking for a high sinecure? Yi Xian's eyes lit up. If this was the case, he could sneak into the Tang family and investigate the whereabouts of those divine core warriors from the Heavenly Water Continent a few months ago. Yi Xian didn't know much about the Tang family. All he knew was that the Tang family had an ancestor who had opened 29 earth veins. Unlike the spirit realm, the essence realm didn't require a huge amount of natural treasures. A essence realm warrior might suddenly have an epiphany and open up a few earth veins, or even heavenly veins. Therefore, it was related to one's natural talent. Of course, with the help of precious natural treasures, even a little kid might be able to reach the essence realm. Without hesitation, Yi Xian started heading toward the Golden Crow City. As for Lu Xiaofeng and Lu Xiaowan, Yi Xian wasn't worried about them. After all, they had found a place to live in seclusion. The Golden Crow City was considered a big city on the Heavenly Wolf Island. It was second only to the Heavenly Wolf City. Right at this moment, Yi Xian had arrived at the Golden Crow City. After that, He asked around for the location of the Tang family, which was the mayor's mansion. As the mayor's mansion, the Tang family was a family that could control the entire Golden Crow City. Yi Xian had opened 14 earth veins, and his overall strength was not bad. Furthermore, he had a great natural talent, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to join the Tang family. "Young man, what are you doing here?" When Yi Xian arrived at the mayor's mansion, a man stopped him. It was a guard from the Tang family. "I want to join the Tang family." Yi Xian stated his intention without hesitation. "What's your cultivation level?" the guard asked. Yi Xian answered without thinking, "I've opened 14 earth veins." 14 earth veins. The guard was shocked. He never expected Yi Xian to be a genius. He had only opened one earth vein when he was almost 40 years old. "This way, please." The guard immediately smiled. Then he personally led Yi Xian into the mayor's mansion. After that, he brought Yi Xian in front of a middle-aged man. "You opened 14 earth veins and want to join my Tang clan?" The middle-aged man was somewhat surprised. A genius like Yi Xian definitely had some sort of background. He had no choice but to ask about this person joining the Tang family. "Where are you from?" the middle-aged man asked. Yi Xian understood that the middle-aged man in front of him must have opened at least 20 earth veins. His strength was extraordinary. "I'm from the Blood Cliff continent," Yi Xian replied. "Blood Cliff continent, which city?" the middle-aged man asked again. Before they arrived, Yi Xian had already prepared the information. He directly mentioned a coastal territory and its specific location. This was what he had seen in one of the Qianquan rings he had obtained previously. Yi Xian's reaction dispelled most of the doubts in the middle-aged man's mind, but the latter continued to ask, "Why did you choose to join the Tang family?" "Because my surname is also Tang, Tang Hulu," Yi Xian replied. This name was randomly made up on the spot because he suddenly remembered that there was no such thing as Tonghulu in this world. He also sighed in his heart. Fortunately, he was resourceful and had strong adaptability. Otherwise, he would have made a mistake. "And very good. Show me a martial art," the middle-aged man said again. Yi Xian took out a high-grade heaven tool and directly pierced it into the sky. It was the 90% complete hidden dragon stab. The power is not bad. It should be around 90% complete, but the grade of the martial art is too low. The middle-aged man was very satisfied. He also felt that Yi Xian was able to mobilize the heaven and earth yuan qi. It was indeed 14 earth veins. Although the hidden dragon sword art and the prime clarity sword art were both high-grade heaven-tier martial arts, the gap between them was still very large. The middle-aged man was thinking that if Yi Xian learned a stronger martial art, he might be able to challenge those above his level. In short, Yi Xian was a good seedling. "Good. Tang Hulu, you have joined my Tang clan now. My name is Tang Yuan Hang, an elder of the Tang clan. You will work under me." After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he let the guard take Yi Xian to his residence. At the same time, he reminded Yi Xian where he could enter and where he could not. Just like that, Yi Xian stayed in the Tang clan. This Tang clan's strength was outstanding. He could not make a big fuss like the Jiang clan and the 100 Tempering Cities City Lord's office. Otherwise, he would probably be slapped to death. However, just as Yi Xian came out, he suddenly bumped into a girl. "Greetings, 7th young lady." The Tang clan guard greeted respectfully. Yi Xian glanced at him. F***ck, he almost vomited. This girl was fat, her face was full of pockmarks, and she had a mouthful of big yellow teeth. Her nostrils were even bigger than Yi Xian's thumb, and her eyes were almost as big as Yi Xian's pinky nail. She looked like a flower. "Greetings, 7th young lady." Yi Xian quickly shifted his gaze away from the Tang clan guard. After that, he followed the girl. The 7th young lady glanced at Yi Xian, then her eyes lit up. She stared at Yi Xian's back as he left. Then she entered Tang Yuanhong's courtyard. "6th uncle, this is what Dad asked me to give you." The 7th young lady handed over a piece of paper to him. Tang Yuanhang took the paper and gave it a look. He was shocked. "Why is there more? Didn't we only ask for 100 people last month?" "I don't know. This is a request from the Shangqing Palace. Perhaps those devils have become even stronger." The 7th young lady shook her head and said, "All right, I understand." Tang Yuanhang nodded his head helplessly. Last month, they had just handed over 200 Divine Court death row prisoners to the Xianxia Palace. And this month, they were asking for 400. The number had doubled. The Divine Core warriors the Tang clan had captured from the Heavenly Water Island were only a few hundred. Luckily, Tang Yuanhang had the foresight to ask his men to capture all the true spirit warriors and above from the Heavenly Water Island. Although these people might not be able to withstand being possessed by the devils, there were still some who could withstand it. At the same time, Tang Yuanhang was preparing to personally eliminate some bandits and other forces. Those bandits were at least at the strength realm, but this wasn't a long-term solution. Right at this moment, the seventh young lady asked again, "Sixth uncle, who was that guy just now?" Tang Yuanhang was startled for a moment. Then he immediately understood that the seventh young lady was talking about Yi Xian. He replied, "He's the Tang clan's new Xianxia." "Why? Do you like him?" "Sixth uncle, you can ask him to come find me tonight." The seventh young lady suddenly smiled. "All right, I got it." Tang Yuanhang nodded his head. He understood what his niece meant. Although this niece of his was a little ugly, she had a pretty good talent. After that, the seventh young lady left. Right after Yi Xian had settled down, and while he was thinking about how to investigate this matter, someone knocked on his door. He opened the door, and saw a guard from the Tang clan. "Xianxia Tang, someone wants to see you, please follow me," the guard said. He didn't wait for Yi Xian to ask any questions. He just turned around and left. This confused Yi Xian. Could it be that the higher-ups of the Tang clan saw his talent and wanted to train him? Chapter 481. Fury. However, after walking for a while, Yi Xian felt that something was amiss. This seemed to be the place where the Tang family's daughter lived. The guard brought Yi Xian to a courtyard and said, "The person who wants to see you is inside." In addition, the sixth elder said that he would gather at the martial arts practice field tomorrow morning to exterminate the bandits in the Golden Crow Mountain Range. "All right, I understand." Yi Xian nodded. He did not expect to be assigned a task as soon as he entered. After that, the guard left. Yi Xian pushed open the door and walked in with some surprise. When he came to the courtyard, he saw that the door was half open. At the same time, a girl's voice came from inside. "Come in." F***CK. It's really a girl? Yi Xian did not associate it with the seventh young mistress that he saw just now. Because when he thought of it, his stomach would churn, so he had already deleted that memory. He tried to push open the door and enter, but there was no one inside. However, he sensed that there was someone behind the screen. He took a few steps forward and realized that something was wrong. There was poison in this room. Ding! The poison is immune to the host. After hearing the notification, Yi Xian's eyes suddenly widened. He also realized that this was a poison that could make a soul-refining realm martial artist sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. At this moment, the person behind the screen walked out. Yi Xian's eyes were almost blinded. Wasn't this the seventh young mistress, Ruhua? Furthermore, the other party had exposed both of his shoulders. In an instant, Yi Xian understood that he had been exposed. He immediately slapped Ruhua across the air. Bang! Although the seventh young mistress was also in the soul-refining realm, her strength was much weaker than Yi Xian. After Yi Xian sent her flying, he immediately took off her universe ring and quickly rushed out of the room. He could not stay in the Tang family any longer. Yi Xian wanted to cry but had no tears. He originally planned to sneak into the Tang family, but he did not expect that in less than an hour, he would betray the Tang family. When he hurriedly left the courtyard, he heard Ruhua's angry roar. Now, the entire Tang family was alarmed. "Damn it, retreat!" Yi Xian cursed and quickly left the Tang family. Fortunately, he had taken the 7th Mrs. Cosmos ring and successfully opened the 15th Earth vein. Otherwise, his operation would have been in vain. All in all, it wasn't a loss. Everything happened so suddenly that before the Tang family could react, Yi Xian had already left. There was nothing the Tang family could do. At this time, in the sky outside Golden Crow City. "Damn you, Tang Yuanhang, I'll definitely kill you." Yi Xian flew into a rage. If it weren't for the sacred tree of life bloodline, his first time would have most likely been lost here. If that was really the case, then he might as well commit suicide. Although he had caused such a ruckus, he had also gained some benefits. Moreover, He knew that Tang Yuanhang was going to organize a group of people to hunt bandits and other bandits tomorrow. Therefore, Yi Xian waited outside the city for a while, waiting for them to come out. Yi Xian also asked the Tang family guard about Tang Yuanhang's cultivation base. Tang Yuanhang was the sixth elder of the Tang family and had opened 24 earth veins. He was very powerful. It was precisely because of this that Yi Xian chose to directly leave the Tang clan and not cause a ruckus. The difference between 24 earth veins and 15 earth veins was huge. If Yi Xian fought with Tang Yuanhang, he would probably be sent flying like a flower. I only slapped the seventh miss and took her Cosmos ring. The Tang family shouldn't make any big moves, so Tang Yuanhang's itinerary tomorrow shouldn't change. Yi Xian thought to himself and left immediately. His goal this time was to eliminate these bandits in front of Tang Yuanhang, then find trouble with Tang Yuanhang. The Golden Crow mountain range was just outside Golden Crow City. It led to the Celestial Wolf City, so there were many bandits and bandits here. It was already night. Yi Xian took advantage of the night to search the mountain range. He found a few bandits' nests. These bandits were not strong, at most with 20 dragon power, but there were many of them. Yi Xian cleaned up these bandits' nests overnight, gradually increasing his strength. These bandits actually had backers, which was why they weren't annihilated. However, Yi Xian didn't care who their backers were. By daybreak, most of the bandits' nests in the Golden Crow mountain range had been wiped out by Yi Xian. Only a few hidden nests were spared. Even Tang Yuanhang couldn't do anything about it, but Yi Xian did it with the bloodline of the sacred tree of life. After the massacre, Yi Xian opened 3 earth veins, increasing the number of earth veins he had from 15 to 18. At this time, he was guarding the entrance of the Golden Crow mountain range, waiting for Tang Yuanhang's arrival. Sure enough, Yi Xian finally found the Tang family's team at noon. There were only 10 people in this team, led by the sixth elder of the Tang family, Tang Yuanhang. Last night, the Tang family had turned the entire Golden Crow city upside down, but didn't find Yi Xian. They would never have thought that Yi Xian would sweep through most of the Golden Crow mountain range and then wait for them at the entrance. When the Tang family's team was about to enter the Golden Crow mountain range, Yi Xian descended from the sky and landed in front of them. Tang Yuanhang, you're finally here. Yi Xian looked at the Tang family's team with a cold expression. It's you? Tang Yuanhang, who was still wondering who dared to intercept the Tang family's team, was also astonished when he saw Yi Xian. Tang Yuanhang, I wanted to join the Tang family, but you sent me out. Today, none of you will leave. Yi Xian said loudly. Sent. You coveted my niece's interspatial ring and injured her. Li Zheng, take him down. Tang Yuanhang shouted angrily. The seventh young mistress had distorted the truth yesterday, so Tang Yuanhang didn't know the truth. However, Yi Xian didn't bother to explain. He was determined to kill Tang Yuanhang anyway. Yi Xian's lips curled up as he watched the Tang family's consecrator, Li Zhang, dashing toward him. The Bahuang sword was already in his hand. Li Zhang had only opened 18 earth veins, the same as Yi Xian. With such strength, he could only be killed in an instant. Rip. Sure enough, Li Zheng's head was thrown up in less than a second. Instant kill. Yi Xian took off his interspatial ring and shouted, Who else? How is this possible? Tang Yuanhang was very surprised. He had personally witnessed Yi Xian's strength, but Yi Xian was able to kill an expert who had opened 18 earth veins in just one day. How was this possible? It seems that this brat was hiding his strength before. Tang Yuanhang thought to himself. At this moment, he hadn't realized that Yi Xian was using the martial arts of Xianxia Palace. Sun Xiaoyu. Tang Yuanhang shouted. Chapter 482. Revenge. Tang Yuanhang had already opened 24 veins. Faced with such a situation, he couldn't lower himself to personally attack Yi Xian. Worshippers, to put it nicely, were worshippers. To put it bluntly, they were hired thugs. Sun Xiaoyu walked out and didn't waste any words, directly charging over. However, what no one expected was that Sun Xiaoyu, who had opened 20 veins, was actually instantly killed by Yi Xian. Just how many veins had Yi Xian opened? Prime Clarity Sword Arts. As Sun Xiaoyu's head flew, someone suddenly cried out in surprise. Everyone, including Tang Yuanhang, was stunned. Only now did they realize that Yi Xian had used the martial arts of Prime Clarity Palace. Yi Xian was a disciple of Prime Clarity Palace? No, definitely not. Everyone reacted. Yi Xian had secretly learned Prime Clarity Palace's martial arts. What a guy! It just so happens that an emissary from Prime Clarity Palace is coming today. I'll capture you and bring you to him. Tang Yuanhang narrowed his eyes, suddenly feeling uneasy. He shouted, "Attack together!" Although it was unfair to bully him with numbers, Tang Yuanhang still chose to be more conservative in order to prevent accidents. In an instant, the 8 people, including Tang Yuanhang, directly attacked. 1 against 8? Fine, I'll let you see who you've offended. Yi Xian's arrogance surged. The scene from yesterday was still vivid in his mind. This was the first time in his life that he was trembling with anger. Kill! Yi Xian charged forward. 1 against 8 was actually easier than 1 against Tang Yuanhang, because the other 7 were much slower than Yi Xian. With 90% mastery of the Prime Clarity demonic stomping steps, Yi Xian's speed was no slower than Tang Yuanhang's. Capture him alive! At this moment, Tang Yuanhang shouted. However, this indirectly reduced the strength of his side, greatly reducing the pressure on Yi Xian. Prime Clear Sword Art. Yi Xian used his strongest swordsmanship. Although this swordsmanship was specifically used to deal with evil creatures, with 90% proficiency, it was naturally Yi Xian's strongest attack. After the 2 sides came into contact, Yi Xian tried his best to avoid Tang Yuanhang and find trouble with others. Tang Yuanhang hadn't expected Yi Xian to be so powerful. He was actually able to fight against 8 people who were several levels higher than him. He rejoiced in his heart that he hadn't sent anyone to continue the fight. Otherwise, they would have been sending themselves to their deaths. Besieged by 8 people, Yi Xian was forced to retreat again and again, but he did not care. Come out! Yi Xian shouted, shocking everyone. Could it be that there was an ambush here? The next moment, he saw a little bird appear behind Yi Xian. Swish! Wei Zhentian transformed into a thumb-sized bird with a sharp beak and quickly flew out. Today, it had devoured a large amount of ores and weapons, and had long grown to the Essence Soul realm. At this moment, it could even kill a martial artist who had opened up 18 earth veins. Wei Zhentian transformed into a bird one moment, and then into a humanoid puppet the next. Furthermore, it was difficult to kill, causing a lot of trouble for Tang Yuanhang and the others. At the same time, it also shared a lot of pressure with Yi Xian. What the hell is this thing? Why haven't I heard of it before? Tang Yuanhang was very surprised. He couldn't be blamed for this. After all, strange beasts like rock spirits were extremely rare. Most people wouldn't be able to recognize them. After the 2 sides fought for half a minute, there were finally casualties. Without a doubt, the ones who died were definitely from Tang Yuanhang's side. Yi Xian endured the wound on his shoulder and killed 1 person, devouring his universe ring. Although 1 person died, Yi Xian was also injured. This was neither a win nor a loss for Tang Yuanhang's side. However, Yi Xian's wound healed after a second. At this moment, everyone's expression changed. Yi Xian was fighting with them and didn't have time to heal. However, they watched as Yi Xian's wound healed as if nothing had happened. Haha, I said before that all of you will die here today. Yi Xian laughed loudly. In the next moment, another person died. A martial artist who had only opened up 16 earth veins was killed by Wei Zhentian's bird transformation. Out of the 8, only 6 were left. Yi Xian wasn't afraid of the 8 at first. Now that he had Wei Zhentian's help and devoured an universe ring, it was time for him to explode. Beast King Rampage. Yi Xian finally used a trump card that wasn't a trump card anymore. Although it wouldn't increase his strength by much, it was enough for him to get rid of the remaining 6 in this situation. Swish! Another person's head flew up. Out of the 6, only 5 were left. Tang Yuanhang finally realized that Yi Xian was no match for him. He hurriedly shouted, "Retreat! It's too late to leave now." Yi Xian devoured 2 universe rings and finally opened his 19th earth vein. He could use more qi of heaven and earth, which meant that he was faster. Swish! 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 4 crisp sounds were heard. Except for Tang Yuanhang, everyone was dead. Yi Xian chased after Tang Yuanhang with his extraordinary speed. The latter's qi was quickly depleted. Tang Yuanhang retreated while blocking Yi Xian's attacks. However, at this moment, bang! Tang Yuanhong's back suddenly bumped into something hard. He turned around and found that he had bumped into a green wall. What? Tang Yuanhong's eyes widened. How could there be such a hard wall in the wilderness? In the next moment, he realized that it was the transformation of Yi Xian's strange thing. But the collision directly led to his death. Swish! A simple and unadorned long sword pierced through his chest, piercing through his heart. This long sword was Yi Xian's Bahuang sword. Tang Yuanhong's eyes were wide open. He stared at the young man who was only half a meter away from him. He opened his mouth but no sound came out. Swoosh! Yi Xian quickly pulled out the Bahuang sword. Ding! Host has opened the 20th earth vein. After Yi Xian devoured Tang Yuanhong's storage ring, the notification sounded out once again. Now that he had avenged his personal grudge, the next step was to deal with the Tang family. He threw all the ores and high-ranked heavenly weapons to Wei Zhentian. After Wei Zhentian successfully absorbed them, he started heading toward Golden Crow City. It had been a few months since those divine core warriors were sent to Heavenly Wolf Island. The Tang family's fleet had been drifting in the ocean for a few months before they accidentally found Heavenly Water Island. Now that they had a route, it wouldn't take them more than a few months to return to Heavenly Wolf Island. Therefore, Yi Xian guessed that all these divine core warriors had been handed over to the Tang family. As for who the Tang family's leader was, whether it was the Heavenly Wolf Lord or the Supreme Pure Palace, he would have to find out. Without wasting any time, Yi Xian immediately rushed into Golden Crow City. After that, he started slaughtering his way into the mayor's mansion. Chapter 483. Be held hostage again. The upper echelons of the Tang family reacted quickly. They immediately mobilized many experts with more than 20 dragons to besiege Yi Xian, but they were all killed by Yi Xian. Yi Xian also broke through to 22 earth veins because of this. Brat, don't be so arrogant. A roar resounded in the sky as a 100-year-old old man swooped down. This scene was somewhat familiar to Yi Xian, but this time, his opponent was not so easy to deal with. Good timing. As long as I kill you, my 23rd earth vein should be opened. Yi Xian roared in his heart as he charged forward. 22 earth veins and 29 earth veins were 7 different, but Yi Xian did not care at all. As long as his opponent could not defeat him immediately, he could exhaust him to death. Prime Clarity Sword Art? The 100-year-old ancestor of the Tang family also recognized it at a glance. It's good that you know. Yi Xian coldly snorted. This old man gave him a huge pressure. This time, he might be able to use this opportunity to raise his Prime Clarity Sword Art to full mastery. The two fought for 30 rounds and were evenly matched. Although Yi Xian kept retreating, the old man clearly could not do anything to him. However, at this moment, Brat, you dare to disguise yourself as a disciple of my Prime Clarity Palace? You're courting death. Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice rang out. Immediately after, Yi Xian felt a flash in front of his eyes. A person flashed in front of him and punched his chest. Crack! The sound of his sternum breaking resounded. Yi Xian, who was sent flying, focused his eyes and found that it was a middle-aged man wearing Prime Clarity Palace robes. This strength had opened at least 30 earth veins. This person has the strength to kill me in a second. Yi Xian's heart trembled. If this middle-aged man wanted to kill him just now, he would probably be dead already. He did not understand why the other party did not kill him. Bang! Yi Xian's body slammed into a wall. In the next moment, his legs kicked off. Run! You want to leave? The middle-aged man's eyes widened. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Yi Xian in an instant. In an instant, Yi Xian was captured by the middle-aged man. This was the first time in his life that Yi Xian felt so powerless. Damn it! Yi Xian clenched his teeth. At this moment, he was already mentally prepared. If this middle-aged man wanted to kill him, he would give it his all and forcibly fuse with the divine bloodline. Although there was a high probability that he would die, this was his last resort. However, the middle-aged man did not seem to intend to kill him. Elder Li, this brat killed many of our Tang family's people. The old man also came over and said fiercely, I understand, and I deeply regret this matter. Moreover, this brat also killed my Xianxia Palace's disciple and stole my Xianxia Palace's martial arts. Clan Master Tang, please rest assured, he won't live for long. Elderly nodded. In the next moment, Tang family head understood what Elderly wanted to do with Yi Xian. He immediately agreed. All right, let this brat enter the demon's den and enjoy the feeling of being possessed by a demon. Tang family head, in that case, I won't stay any longer. Farewell. Elderly grabbed Yi Xian and flew into the air. He had already finished his business, so naturally, he was going to leave. However, Yi Xian felt as if 10,000 grass mud horses were galloping through his heart. Damn it, Elderly wants to throw me into the demon's den and make me a vessel for the demon, Yi Xian cursed inwardly. However, he could only let Elderly grab him and take him away. Apart from forcibly fusing with the divine bloodline, he had no other choice. Should I fuse with it or not? Yi Xian hesitated in his heart. In the end, he gave up on the idea because forcibly fusing with the divine bloodline was too dangerous. After all, he was only in the soul essence realm and had only opened 22 earth veins. He estimated that his success rate of fusing with the divine bloodline was less than 1%. As such, he could only obediently be carried by Elderly and fly towards Xianxia Palace. Brat, you don't want to resist at all? Elderly couldn't help but ask on the way. Is there any use in resisting? Yi Xian asked in return. Indeed, you've only opened 22 earth veins, but I've already opened 34. The difference is huge, so it's useless no matter how you resist. I'm sure you've heard about my Xianxia Palace. There's a group of demons suppressed under my Xianxia Palace. This time I'm going to send you in, Elderly said. You want to say that since I'm going to die anyway, why don't I help you kill some demons? Yi Xian asked again. That's right. If it wasn't for the fact that I think you still have some value, I'm afraid you would have died in the Tang family. Elderly nodded his head and said, You're at the soul essence realm, and with your physique, you might be able to be possessed by a demon general. This is much more useful than 10,000 divine core prisoners. Yi Xian remained silent. Just like that, Elderly captured Yi Xian. After traveling for 2 days, they finally arrived at Xianxia Palace on Heavenly Wolf Island. What an eerie aura! When Yi Xian stepped into Xianxia Palace's territory, he immediately sensed an aura of death that was much stronger than the one he sensed in the ghost tomb. Obviously, this aura came from the Devil Cave. Elderly, this is? When a Xianxia Palace elder saw him, he immediately walked over and greeted him. He disguised himself as a disciple of Xianxia Palace and secretly learned our martial arts. I've captured him and am going to throw him into the Devil Cave. Elderly replied. Good, since he knows our Xianxia Palace's martial arts, he'll be much more useful than the others in the Devil Cave. The elder nodded his head. Has the main sex elite team arrived yet? Elderly asked again. Not yet. It'll probably take some time. Good. Then I'll throw this brat into the Devil Cave first. Elderly nodded slightly. Then, he grabbed Yi Xian and flew toward the back mountain of Xianxia Palace. Yi Xian was carried like a little chick. The closer they got to the back mountain of Xianxia Palace, the stronger the aura that made ordinary people feel uncomfortable. At the same time, Yi Xian also sensed several powerful auras. The entrance to the Devil Cave should be in the back mountain of Xianxia Palace. These auras should be the masters of Xianxia Palace guarding the place to prevent possessed demons from coming out. Elderly brought Yi Xian to the back mountain of Xianxia Palace and landed in the middle of a group of people. Elderly, this is? A white-haired old man asked in surprise. Sect Master, he killed a disciple of Xianxia Palace and secretly learned our sect's martial arts, so I want to throw him into the Devil Cave, Elderly replied. I see. Then just throw him in. The white-haired old man nodded slightly and had no objection. Elderly then carried Yi Xian to the entrance of a dark cave. He took out a yellow talisman and said, This is the Xianxia talisman. Carry it with you and it will prove that you haven't been possessed by demons. I'll give you a month. If you're still alive after a month, I'll let you go. Hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes lit up. It seemed that he still had a way out. Chapter 484. Entering the Devil's Den. The demonic army hasn't started to attack the seal yet. Hurry up and go in. Elderly let go of Yi Xian's hands. Yi Xian paused for a moment, then walked straight into the Devil's Den. There was an array at the entrance of the Devil's Den that specifically restricted evil creatures. Since he had a body of flesh and blood, he could enter and leave freely. He wore the Xianxia talisman and took out the Bahuang sword. At the same time he said to himself, Shangqing Palace, just you wait. If I, Yi Xian, don't die, I'll make you pay. Yi Xian didn't know how dangerous the Devil's Den was, but he estimated that the sect master had opened up 40 earth veins. If an expert with 40 earth veins didn't dare to go in and exterminate the demonic creatures, then there must be something in the Devil's Den that he was afraid of. Therefore, Yi Xian didn't dare to relax. He followed the Devil's Den's passageway all the way down. Along the way, he saw many corpses, almost all of which belonged to humans. These people all died tragically. After a while, he arrived at a dark place. It was so dark that he couldn't see his own fingers. Terrifying screams echoed around him. This Devil's Den is under the Heavenly Wolf Island. I wonder which expert suppressed it here. Yi Xian was a little surprised. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, a black figure suddenly flew towards him. Although it was dark here, Yi Xian still had the shadow leopard bloodline. He could see clearly within 2,000 meters. This black figure was the so-called demonic creature. To be more precise, it was a demonic soldier. This demonic soldier was like the vengeful spirits. Its body was translucent, but it didn't have a lower body. It danced in the air. Its 2 black claws were extremely sharp and could easily tear a martial artist below the heavenly dragon power in half. However, demonic soldiers would usually possess humans when they saw them. If they succeeded, they would be able to control the human's body. A mere demonic soldier dares to find trouble with me? Die! Yi Xian directly slashed at the demonic soldier. The Shangqing sword technique had an effect on demonic creatures. Even if Yi Xian was holding a tree branch, he could still kill the demonic soldier instantly. Puh! The sword chi swept past the demonic soldier's body and instantly shattered it. Then, the demonic chi began to condense and turned into a black pearl. After a demonic creature dies, it will turn into a demonic orb. If it is not destroyed in time, these demonic creatures will be reborn. Yi Xian thought to himself. He was not completely clueless about this demon. Immediately, he shot forward and picked up the demonic orb. Since he had already been kicked into the demon's den, he might as well kill as many as he could. After all, the demonic orb was easy to destroy. But in the next moment, he suddenly thought of something. Since the devouring system could devour everything, the demonic orb should be able to do the same, right? Ding! Devouring successful. When he heard the notification in his mind, Yi Xian's eyes widened. He was actually able to devour. Furthermore, his true energy had also increased. Ha ha ha! Yi Xian could not help but laugh at the sky. He was really lucky. He thought he had fallen into a trap, but he did not expect it to be a golden trap. This is really a treasure trove for leveling up. I've struck it rich. 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes as he immediately charged forward. It had to be said that this was a blessing in disguise. Of course, he could not be so confident. After all, if he accidentally encountered a powerful demon like a demon general, he would be in for a tragedy. With the Bahuang sword, prime clarity sword technique, and the sword sage bloodline, any attack from Yi Xian was comparable to an expert who had opened 30 earth veins. Along the way, he killed all the demon soldiers he encountered with a single slash of his sword. His realm also increased bit by bit. These demon soldiers had varying levels of strength. The weaker ones were comparable to the aura realm, while the stronger ones were comparable to the level 10 aura energy realm. As for those demons that were comparable to the spirit essence realm, they were called demon generals. Yi Xian had been in the demon's den for 4 hours and killed thousands of demons. However, he had not encountered a single demon general. Perhaps it was because he had not yet entered the demon's den. The demon's den was extremely dangerous, so Yi Xian did not dare to enter recklessly. He only paced back and forth at the entrance, increasing his realm first. At this moment, he had already opened his 23rd earth vein and was about to open his 24th. In 4 hours, Yi Xian had increased his realm by almost 2 levels. This demon's den was indeed a treasure trove for him. However, at this moment, a powerful aura suddenly approached Yi Xian. What a powerful aura! It should be a demon general this time, and it shouldn't be weak. Yi Xian thought to himself. Ta 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 ta. Soon, the sound of hurried footsteps was heard. Footsteps, a human? Yi Xian was a little surprised. He raised his hand and released a few rays of sword chi to illuminate the front. With the help of the light, Yi Xian saw the face of the approaching person. It was really a human. A human. The approaching person was a man with a scar on his face. When he saw Yi Xian, he also revealed a strange expression. Although he had encountered a human, Yi Xian would not let his guard down because this person might be possessed by a demon. You've been possessed by a demon, haven't you? Yi Xian asked coldly. Little brother, how can you say that? Have you ever seen someone who could still speak after being possessed by a demon? The scarred man asked in horror. Hee, I just killed one. Yi Xian sneered. The scarred man's face stiffened. He raised his hand and slashed at Yi Xian. Sure enough, he had been possessed by a demon. Boom! Yi Xian easily defeated the sword chi and slashed it back. This scarred man should have been like him, caught and brought here to destroy the demons, but unexpectedly, he was possessed by the demons. After being possessed by a demon, the Xianxia Palace's Xianxia sword technique was not very useful. However, this scarred man had only opened a dozen or so earth veins. He was no threat to Yi Xian at all. Swish! The sword chi swept past the scarred man's throat and cut off his head. However, in the next moment, a demon general larger than a demon soldier rushed towards Yi Xian. However, this demon general was not very strong and was killed by Yi Xian in one strike. Yi Xian walked over and picked up the demon general's demon orb and the scarred man's interspatial ring. Ding! Host has opened the 24th earth vein. Now he had opened a third of the earth veins. After killing this demon general, Yi Xian attacked again. If someone tried to chase him away now, he would definitely not leave. He was also very helpless. If he had known earlier, he would have volunteered to enter the demon cave. Time passed little by little. With the sacred tree of life's extraordinary recovery speed, Yi Xian continued his slaughter. In 3 days, he had killed more than 10,000 demon soldiers and several hundred demon generals. His cultivation base had also broken through from 24 earth veins to 28 earth veins. At this moment, if he were to face Elderly again, he would most likely be able to kill him.